Well, there goes the day.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There goes the Daverhood.
Verhood.
And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
We got David Lefker that's here. He's a Long Island arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's gone by. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
That would be me. Thank you, Joe Franklin. Thank you, everyone. And really thank you, everyone, not just for tuning in this Saturday morning, live on January 27th, 2024, and for every morning that you tune in, every Saturday morning that we do this program, but especially thank you so much, all of you, for like the thumbs up and the little messages and the good wishes a few days ago, this past Tuesday, when it was my 60th birthday. Yay. So even though it's a little thing, and even though I glance at it, because I had about, thank you very much, 300 to 400 messages on Facebook alone of just people saying, happy birthday, a little balloon icon or emoji, smiling faces, a little bit of a gif of balloons rising into the ether, little things. Sometimes, and this is, they took the time, some people, to even put my name in, because I don't even do that. I try and wish people a happy birthday on Facebook, just because it's a nice thing. And I don't know, I would say personally, half to two-thirds of the friends I have on this platform on Facebook. They're friends because they're also in the arts, because they heard about the show and they thought it'd be cool, or I heard about them and they're in the arts, or they're friends of family. I've never met them. I don't know them at all. And I'm not one of those people, because I need to be loved by the masses, I'm not one of those people who just has like 60 Facebook friends total, and they're all people that you're staying in touch with from high school, from college, from your family, so no, I mean, I've got close to 5,000 friends. I'm not allowed to have more, or else I'd let more join. But, I know you folks, most of you. You don't necessarily want to know, you really don't want to know me personally, but, you're friendly enough, and I'm friendly enough, and you enjoy the show, I hope, and, I like having a mass of people who know that every week I'm here doing this. And whether you watch it live or whether you watch it later in the week or later in the month, it's there for you in the archives on Facebook and the archives on davesgoneby.com. But, I will make that it takes about 2 seconds to go cut and paste, I admit, happy birthday from the Daverhood. Happy birthday, cut, copy, paste, happy birthday from the Daverhood. A lot of folks who were doing that for me actually put my name in. They wrote in, like, happy birthday, Dave, exclamation point. Happy to you, Dave. And you sometimes see Facebook trying to do some autofill, because it'll be happy birthday, Dave Lefkowitz. And I was like, oh, and it'll be in blue. So I think it links to me or whatever. So thank you for that. Thank you for taking the extra second that I don't even take most of the time when I'm wishing folks a happy birthday. If I know them personally, or if they've been on the show, they get a slightly different message. Ooh, Dave takes his extra second out of his it's a busy day, out of his day to go, happy birthday, oh friend of the Daverhood, which is different. I mean, I consider everyone who watches a friend of the Daverhood, but in that context, it's really meant for people who've been on the program. That's why we do a segment later in the broadcast called Friends of the Daverhood, and we catch up on what the folks are doing who've been on this show in months and years past. So I'll be like, happy birthday, oh friend of the Daverhood, as opposed to the more generic, happy birthday from the Daverhood. Both of which I'm happy to do, and does take, 2 or 3 or 4 minutes out of the day, every single day, to do this repetitious activity. And Facebook can load birthdays kind of slowly for some reason, so sometimes it really is kind of a pain. So this is not a backhanded thank you to those of you who wish me a happy birthday. And I said, look, I took the time. I took the 3 to 10 seconds that it takes to wish Dave this happy birthday because he's on my list or because I watched the show. And here he is on the thing going, whoa, you took a whole 2 seconds to put my name in. Well, yes. Thank you ever so much. And thank you to family who sent cards and a couple of family members who sent money. And yeah, it was a good birthday. I'm going to talk all about that with my darling and adorable wife when she gets here a bit later on. Because I actually did a couple of things this week. It was my first week teaching, but also had my birthday day. I also went to Baltimore City for a day. Kind of cool, kind of not bad, but fun stuff to talk about. But we also have some of our regular segments on the show. For those of you who have no idea, you just tuned in for the first time and have no idea what this is, what I am, Dave Lefkowitz, hello. There is a sort of, I won't say there's an arc to the show, but there's a flow to the show. We don't start here, build like a film to the 2/3 mark, the rising action to the climactic moment and the denouement. No. Sometimes we do, but it would be completely accidental. And this is just like, oh, we're doing this. This looks like fun. Or, okay, this is going to be weird. This is going to be also kind of fun. This, I thought would be fun, but not so, And then we climax with our nadir, the Colorado Limerick of the Damned, generally. Like the worst possible poem I can make up. And we save that for last. And then we realize that we dropped the stink bomb and we just kind of run out of there. But that's the show. It's a mix of humor and talk and culture and interviews that we've been doing since October of 2002. This is our 928th episode of the show. And we're calling it Mickey D's, not because of, I don't know if they're named Michael Doe the Bow Short. No, we're not talking about McDonald's or anything like that. Our guest in the Daverhood shortly is going to be an author, someone that I have known, my God, it's not 20 years now. It's probably about 12 to 15 years ago. I was lucky enough and proud enough and honored enough, whatever, to be invited to a fellowship given by I applied for it and I got it, to go to California, to Los Angeles, in something that was being sponsored by the National Endowment for the Arts, as well as the University of Southern California. They have an arts journalism fellowship, or arts journalism program, and the two of them, I still have my morning phlegm, the two of them combined together to create a fellowship that I think they stopped doing just a couple of years ago. But it was this really cool thing. It was for people who weren't beginners. So it wasn't like fresh out of college or, bouncy high school kids who might want to be journalists. This is for already boots on the ground, mid-career arts journalists, critics, writers, interviewers, that sort of thing, in all the different media or kinds of arts, of film, television, music, the plastic art, sculpture, and painting. Gather us all together, like a dozen of us. And for 2 wonderful weeks, we were basically, treated not just like royalty, but given classes and brought to seminars and watched movies and went to the theater and discussed and wrote about things and then learned some more and critiqued each other and then did some more cool stuff. We took a dance class and we took, I think, a theater class and we took, all that sort of thing over the course of 2 weeks, sponsored by your tax dollars and also from University of Southern California. So it was this just lovely time that we all had there. It was kind of meeting each other of like-minded, arts-loving people who were working. We were all doing our thing, whether it was for blogs or at that point, I had already been the managing editor of Playbill. That was in my past. But I was doing the podcast. I was doing some other stuff. And doing freelance writing. And I had also performed. I've done, I think, some of my theater work in the past. But this was before I even started doing some of the theater stuff with the Rabbi Saul. And in the context or in the group that we were, we learned with some marvelous people, like the music journalist or a couple that we had. They got to powwow with Robert Christgau, the veteran rock critic of the Village Voice and a zillion other places. Tim Page, the music, I'll never forget. Tim Page, I'm believing that is his name, is this long time, very, very well respected music critic. I believe out on the coast. I don't think he was from New York. And we were there the week that he got tenure. So we all went into the lunchroom, like the cafeteria at USC where he was teaching. And I remember our leader, Sasha Annawald, who kind of devised the whole thing. She surreptitiously brought out a bottle of champagne in a student lunchroom, in the middle of the day where you're essentially not supposed to have alcohol, and just poured out cups to toast this guy because, to get tenure is a thing. So he was there. We had Gordon Davidson, founder of the big theaters in LA, like the Mark Taper Forum and the Kirk Douglas Theater and was it not CTG? Well, yeah, Center Theater Group, I think it is. He came and talked to us about theater and listened to some of our work, and that was neat. So it was high level stuff, and some quite wonderful people were already wonderful when they went in and became even more wonderful when they came out. So you have people like music writer Chris Klimek, or Klimek, if I'm mispronouncing his name, Mike Merschel, who was on our program and went on to write, wrote bunches of things, Alan Scherstuhl as well, two folks who've been on this program. Mike Merschel wrote a very popular young adult novel. Alan Scherstuhl wrote satirically. He wrote also a lot of film criticism for the Village Voice. And speaking of the Voice and speaking of writing, not just criticism, but arts journalism, another person who came out of that circle of wonderful people, Rebecca Haithcote was there, and I'm forgetting some of the other folks, Manny Mendoza. Apologies if I'm not remembering your name off the top of my head. Anyway, so Bob Hoover, we went, among the folks who was with us, is a woman who had already written her memoir, which was pretty amazing, and had it published. It's called Mama Rama, a memoir of sex, drugs, and quite literally rock and roll, because Evelyn McDonnell has been a theater critic. I just woke up about an hour ago. Has been a music critic, especially of everything, but particularly writing about and following female musicians, the quote-unquote riot girls. I can never really pronounce that correctly. She wrote a book later on about Björk, a bio, like an appreciation of her, and she writes a ton of things about rock and roll. Kind of reminds me of our friend of the Daverhood, Sylvie Simmons, who did that book about Leonard Cohen and has been interviewing rock stars for a zillion years. Evelyn McDonnell's been doing the same thing, also critiquing popular music, as she is for quite a couple of years now. But she wrote the memoir. She has, I think, 3 books under her wings as we speak, including the latest one, the one that's getting a lot of attention right now. And it is called, you can actually see it behind me if you squint, The World According to Joan Didion from HarperCollins. And Didion, of course, this quite important now, more of an essayist, not really so much a novelist, but captivated McDonnell's attention. See, there's the Mickey D's thing again. And the fact that I should wake up just a little bit earlier on Saturday mornings. So this book has just come out a few weeks back. It is available where all books are sold. And Evelyn McDonnell, my gosh, I know this person. She's a friend, a literal friend. But I'm not going to, unfortunately, I'm not going to be the one doing the interview with her. Because generally the interviews on this particular program are done by the Jewish Rabbi Sal Solomon, even though Evelyn McDonnell is certainly not Jewish. And even though Rabbi Sal can barely read, still he does most of our chats here on the program. So yes, he got to talk to Evelyn for the main reason that back in those golden days of, it had to be 13, 14, maybe longer years ago, that we were, I think it was 2009, so almost 15 years ago, when we were at USC. I brought Rabbi Saul in for the very first time, and he'd been on the radio show. I'd done other things with him, but I brought him over. I flew him all the way to LA in order to perform what I had been working on, which was the very beginnings of what would become Shalom Dammit and Evening with Rabbi Sal Solomon, his stage show. And I was really, really, Rabbi Sal was doing the heavy work and I was just proofreading, but still we collaborated on it together. So I brought Rabbi Sal in to kind of show off a little bit, to show, hey, we've been working on this. You're a bunch of artisty kind of people, and also Gordon Davidson was there, right? The guy who helped found current Los Angeles theater. And I was kind of hoping he'd see this and he'd go, oh my God, that's brilliantly prescient and funny and political and smart and great. And we need to put this on at the Mark Taper Forum for 3.5 years and tour it all over the world. It didn't quite work out like that. He was amused. The son of a bitch. He's dead. I can piss on his grave a little bit. He was amused. But he wondered, I wonder if this can sustain for an hour and a half or so. I'm like, well, if we get it to an hour and a half and we show it to you, but you could tell that his mind was elsewhere. He was looking to do other things. Whatever. He's dead. LA theaters and doing okay, but like all theater across America, kind of in a shambles right now. So didn't happen. I did the show in New York. Fuck him. With Rabbi Sal. I say I, but I mean the pluralistic I, the I that includes Rabbi Sal Solomon. But I got one of the great things that Rabbi Sal and I got from our gang was tremendous encouragement, including Evelyn and Mike and Alan and Rebecca and Bob. They laughed. And they weren't just being nice. They laughed. They understood. They encouraged. It's like, yeah, you guys have to finish this. You're going somewhere with this. This is hysterical. This is, we knew you guys were crazy, but we know you were this freaking crazy. So that, because if they hated it, I don't know if Rabbi Sal and I would have gone that much further with it. If my peers, if artistic, intelligent, intellectual people with great senses of humor looked at this and went, guess good for you. I would have had a different feeling than coming out of that room and being on an incredible bubble, on an incredible high, that within a year, Rabbi Sal and I finished the piece and started doing it, performing it in 2011. So I thank them all for that. And that was one of the great moments of being in that fellowship. But that is also why, rather than myself, Rabbi Sal Solomon will be doing the interview with the lovely and talented Evelyn McDonnell, talking about her book, also talking about her life as an arts journalist. She's also an academic. She teaches, I think it's at Loyola Marymount University. So yeah, she's a kind of a big deal. Rabbi Sal is not, but he gets to interview her on today's episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream. Also on this episode of the program, we will have Greeley Times, where Joyce, who's not in the room at the moment, but Joyce and I will be going to Greeley, Colorado for our weekly look at nutty things that happen in the neighborhood that people call the police about. We will also perhaps, I don't know if we're going to have time for BUNION Watch. We may or may not, but we might have a look at, we did a lot of walking yesterday all around Baltimore and Johns Hopkins University and places like that. So I do want to check on the condition of my bunions. I will share that with you. Inside Broadway, which we didn't quite get to last time. I was in New York the week before my birthday week and saw a couple of Broadway shows, including Prayer for the French Republic and the soon-to-close Barry Manilow musical Harmony. Going to let you know if that's worth catching before it is soon to close. And then our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we go to Tall Timber, Colorado. That's the name of a place. I have a horrible poem about it. And then maybe if there's time, Dave's Big Dictionary. Might table that for next week, because we also want to say a quick but heartfelt farewell to someone that we lost in the Daverhood this past week, the singer-songwriter Melanie Safka, who was at Woodstock and just to show you how low her career fell. She was later, many years on this program. So yeah, gotta say bye-bye to Melanie. Wow, wow. Anyway, all that happening, but let's get to the main event. Let's get to Rabbi Saul Solomon chatting with author and academic and critic Evelyn McDonnell. And it's going to be a wonderful chat that they pre-taped because Rabbi Saul's in shul right now. So hold on, let me share my screen with you. There we go. I'll share that. Good. And now, where's Evelyn's thing? That should be it. Please enjoy Evelyn McDonnell and the one, can I make this big? I think I can. There we go. The one, the only, the Jewish, Rabbi Saul.
Oh, shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Saul Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And oh boy, am I delighted to have a journalist and what I would call an authoress in the Daverhood today. This is a woman who has written all about rock and roll and rock journalism, which is music that I used to listen to in the 1940s. But oh my God, check out what she's also written. Her book, her memoir, Mama Rama, a memoir of sex, kids, and rock and roll. She is also the associate professor at Loyola Marymount College, which is, she's written for the Village Voice and for the Miami Herald, for gosh sakes. And she currently has a brand new book out, The World According to Joan Didion, which is all about Joan Didion, plus herself. She kind of injects herself in that new journalism way, which we're going to talk about now. But won't you please welcome to the Daverhood, Evelyn McDonnell. Shalom, Evelyn.
Thank you. Shalom, shalom. Thank you so much for having me here. 1 week correction. I'm actually a professor, full professor now.
Oh, you made full.
I did. Yeah, a few years ago. So
even before the new book, you made full. What you have,
yes.
a journal article published? What got you full there?
I think actually mostly the books that I've just had since I've been at LMU with I've now had 3 books, but this before this book. So, but Queens of Noise, History of the Runaways, and Women Who Rock, and yes, many other articles, and academic and non.
So let me ask you, what? Everybody grew up loving rock and roll of your generation and several generations after mine, but what made you feel like you had something to contribute about the journalistic aspect and the reviewing aspect of rock?
Right. Well, I have loved rock and roll along with Joan Didion and the Rabbi here since I was a teenager as well. And I've been writing about it since I was a teenager.
But you chose that as something to write about as opposed to all the other things in the world to write about. Why rock?
Because I really just loved it. I mean, it was, I have to say, Patti Smith as a teenager, discovering her, Patti as being someone who I shouldn't say just, but does music, but is also a poet and was also a journalist, right? She wrote reviews for Cream magazine back in the 1970s. So she was really an inspiration and a role model. I think I love music so much, but I was, not good at making it myself. But I wanted to, it spoke so much to me that I wanted to be part of it. And so I decided to write about it. And
remember the first review that you ever wrote and published of an album or a song or something?
Wow, I mean, because I really started in high school. I wrote reviews for the high school newspaper and became the editor of the high school newspaper, and wrote about bands that came to town or were from my small town in Beloit, Wisconsin. I can remember reviewing a Led Zeppelin album, and that was the first time I was not crazy about an album that I had to review, although I liked the band very much. So having to figure out how do you write a review that's not just entirely positive.
Was that Presence or which one? Do you remember which?
It was In Through the Outdoor.
Oh yeah, well the last one, the one that they were, yeah. And some Carousel Ombre is just too much of any goddamn thing, quite honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
say this as a rabbi. But all right, so then what made you make that leap? Because a lot of us, including the host of this program, edited newspapers back in the day and wrote reviews and things like that. What made you make the leap into an actual professional journalist?
Okay, so in addition to loving music, I also loved writing and I loved reading. Avid, avid book reader, and magazine reader. So I literally was in college. I was studying music. I was studying American Studies, but I was focused on the birth of rock and roll really in the 1950s. And I also was writing for the school papers, and actually I was writing for a local alternative weekly in the town, the New Paper in Providence, Rhode Island. And it was kind of just a simple equation, one, I love to write. Two, I love music. Why don't I write about music, right? It was a career path. I mean, I will say that I never thought that I never thought of myself as only someone who wrote about music. I always tried to write about other things, and did and have, but music was the continuing thread, and was the majority of what I was writing.
Well, let me ask you. Oh, you mentioned that you love writing. I mean, we love reading, writing, but you know what? Teenagers love writing. For people who become writers, it's 95% pain in the goddamn ass, and 1% inspiration and joy, and 4% holding the gun, wondering if you're going to put the bullet in the head. How do you love it, though?
One of the reasons that I wrote, fast forwarding a little bit to most recent project, wrote about Joan Didion. She says the essay Why I Write, named after a George Orwell essay also. One of the things that she says is that she writes in order to understand the world, that it's a really important part of her process of cognition and of intellectualism and of understanding, is that it helps her articulate. By putting something on the page, she's not just it helps her understand in her mind. And I feel the same way. Like, it's much easier for me to explain what I feel or what I think if I write it down than if I'm trying to explain it to you now. Fortunately, I've written some of these things down so then I can say them later. But it's really like integral, and I'm sure painters feel the same way about painting, and musicians feel the same way about making music. And Joan describes it very beautifully as that she has this image in her head, and that her goal as a writer is to put it onto the page. I understand that. I actually, for me, it's not even that. It's not as visual as that. Maybe it's more like audio, because I guess that's the music part of me. But I feel like I have this noise in my head that I want to try to put into words and into rhythm. Which I think
I have a noise in my head that I put into one word: tinnitus. And it's horrible. But
I have that too. As well, definitely rock. Yeah, well, rock critics. Casualty of. Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
I mentioned the journalism thing because when we read the Joan Didion book, The World According to Joan Didion, which, by the way, you can get from HarperCollins on Amazon. So, back in the day when you read a biography of somebody, right? They just tell us that they were born here, they did this, they were this high school friend, and it goes that way. And if there was any connection between the subject and the author of the biography, it was in the introduction, it was in the preface. As I discovered so-and-so when I was in junior high school, I read the book, and it's carried me through all my life, and I use them, and then you disappear as a narrator. Right. And you just tell the story. The new journalism, or at least certainly for the Didion book, from what I've read so far, doesn't work like that. You're in it on a certain level from chapter one, not just interviewing as everybody does, but literally telling your story too. How do you feel about that as journalism and storytelling? Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, that's one of the things that the so-called new journalism, as it was called, albeit in the 1960s, so not necessarily new to 2023, although I think maybe to some people still new. That was one of the explicit agenda of those writers, which of course included Joan Didion, as well as Gay Talese and Tom Wolfe and Hunter Thompson, et cetera, was to get rid of that neutral, objective, sort of humanless voice of journalism, and to say that this journalism is being written or created by human beings, and we need to know who they are. I mean, part of this was being tired of the TV network news dominated all the discourse of the hands of writing, of journalism, were in very few hands, and they were now white male hands primarily, and that was the idea of the neutral objective voice, right? And so the new journalist said, A, that's boring. B, it's inaccurate. Like, put your cards on the table. Tell us who you are, and we'll decide whether we agree with you and are interested in your point of view. Because, and not to say that journalism isn't trying to tell the truth and is not fact-based, and of course it is, but the journalist does choose which facts to present, and we want to understand where they're coming from. And this is one of the things that Joan Didion really excelled at, right? And it was also very important that she did this as a woman, right? That she was one of the few women in that room. She was one of only 2 women in the classic New Journalism anthology put together by Tom Wolfe. And to say, hey, I'm here and this is my point of view as a woman that has not always been able to talk about these issues. And, when she was, precluded from talking about the Vietnam War, for example, by her editors at Life magazine. So here's what I think. And when she did that, she did that very famously in her first column for Life magazine in, I think, 1973. She said, I'm, writing to you from a room at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel in lieu of filing for a divorce. And I'm telling you this so that you know who I am and you can decide whether you want to read me. And, I've had women tell me that when they read that as it was published, that was just like a dam breaking open, like, oh my gosh, here's a woman talking about divorce and her marital problems. And by that time she was a pretty known writer. Slouching Towards Bethlehem had always come out, Play It As It Lays had come out. And here she is speaking to these issues and things that we're going through. So anyways, to bring it back to my book, I will say my book is not by any means intended to be a typical biography or a complete biography or the authoritative biography. It's a short book comparatively. I do cover much of her life in it, but I certainly cherry picked the things that I thought were really important. And I really wrote it as more of like a series of essays, of connected essays. And some of it is more personal than others. I just feel like that was an honest way to respond to Joan's writing, because I feel like that's how so many of us respond to her writing.
Well, by the way, we're talking with Evelyn McDonnell, the author of The World According to Joan Didion.
I'll do the little book plug, even though it's backward because my mirroring's on, but there it is.
And look, it doesn't come with all those cute, colorful.
No, this is my that I read from version.
Oh, speaking of which, I want to give people a taste of Evelyn McDonnell as a writer here. This is an excerpt from very early in the book. Check out the writer. I love the end of this. But she's talking about California, even before getting to Joan Didion, what California meant because it's very important to her, and Sacramento because people associate her with other parts of Cali, but she grew up early on in Sacramento. Sacramento is the oldest incorporated city in California, dating back to 1850, the same year California became a state. Before a Swiss con man named John Augustus Sutter convinced the Mexican government in 1839 to give him 48,000 acres of land at the junction of the Sacramento and American rivers, the area was populated by the Maidu, Patwin Wintun, and Miwok, people who understood, I love this, the improvisation necessary to live in an area of ecological whimsy, and who based their diet on the smallest provenance, acorns. The indigenous tribes did not try to cultivate or control the land because they obeyed the laws of the water and knew that nature had its own method of providing nutrition, tender protein encased in a hard shell, here it is, wearing a jaunty little cap. Oh my God, I was like, well, how long did it take you was that instantaneous or to describe an acorn? Because we see it, a jaunty little, like a yarmulke, yeah.
Like, yeah, that would have been great. Like a yarmulke, a beret. Wow, I don't remember exactly writing that sentence. I don't know how many edits it went through. I will say one of the things I really found out in studying Joan Didion's writing is the importance of revision, and going back through and choosing all those words precisely, and striking out, and did I have and could I have said something more precise than cap? Now I'm like, oh, maybe I should have said no.
Improvisation, the use of that word.
Right.
I can tell that was either inspired by a moment of inspiration from you, or you struck out 4 different sayings before landing on that one. Okay?
Oh, I'm sorry, my dog is barking. Let me just let him out. I think my husband came home. 1 second.
Oh, hello, husband. Hello, dog. We're talking with Evelyn McDonnell here in the Daverhood, who just closed her door. Oh, he got you a coffee.
I turned my dog into a coffee.
All right.
Speaking of improvisation, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. There's a Puccino. So, where were we? Oh, yes. But in terms of, like, when you write, how many revisions? Because obviously there are people who say all writing is actually editing. Are you in that mode, the revision thing?
Yes, I think revision is really, really important. And again, something that I knew, but I was really enforced by following Joan's writing and going and looking at her manuscripts and all the revisions that she went through. Yeah, I did her manuscripts up until what year? Through the 70s into the 80s too. I can't.
Are they in a library somewhere? Or
yeah, at the Bancroft Library at UC Berkeley. The latter materials and everything else were acquired by the New York Public Library and aren't open to the public yet. And until any of that, until those materials are available, the full biographies can't really be written. So I sort of think of this as like a stopgap measure for all those who were discovering Joan Didion, so much attention paid to her when she died. My book is sort of something to dive a little bit deeper into her, and then hopefully when there's a longer biography by someone, people take the next step. But anyways, yeah, I do revise that. This book was turned around pretty quickly, so I might not have revised it. Of course, I read it now and I go, oh, I wish I'd changed that word, which is, we all do that. Joan Didion wrote about that you couldn't even read her own writing later.
There are times I wish I had my foreskin back. I'm telling you. Rare, but there are moments. We all have those kinds of, yes, you see that, yes. That was something else then.
Good one.
Thank you. So let me ask you, you teach journalism to college kids.
Yes.
There's so much to unpack with that, because journalism in 2024 isn't even what it was in 2014. So first of all, what's the main thing you teach them?
What is the main thing that I teach them? I actually think that the first thing is critical thinking, right? And our journalism department is housed in our College of Liberal Arts, partly for that reason. And, really, if you're going, and this applies to both, there's always two parts to being a journalist. There's reporting, there's getting the story, there's getting the information. And you have to be thinking critically, even at that point. Obviously, you have to think about, like, is what this person telling me a pack of lies, or is it the truth, right? Because just because you interview someone doesn't mean that what they're saying is accurate. That's why we put it in quotes, right? So to think critically about who you are choosing to interview, right? Who are the sources that you're using? Are you just going to the public face of the story? Or are you representing all points of view? Are you going to the same tired sources repeatedly, right? Like to really think about, I think it's in our mission at journalism that, we think about who gets to tell stories about whom, right? And what is your position to the subject, both the interview subject as well as the story that you're writing about?
Well, you mentioned early in the book when Joan Didion was covering the Haight-Ashbury scene, she could have done just like the spokespeople, the governor or whoever, but she just hung with family. She kind of immersed, and,
Right.
and as you say, she listened. That was
Right.
her thing. She kind of just let things happen around her, and then just kind of, and in doing so, you really tell the greater story. Sometimes, usually, I guess.
Right. Like she liked to be that fly on the wall, disappearing until and she was famously shy, and would let these silences fill the room, or doing an interview until people just started talking, right? And then that's when she really got the story, particularly in Haight-Ashbury, right? And that slouching towards Bethlehem, that famous article. So listening is also a really important skill. I mean, a lot of writers, journalists have tremendous egos, like so many artists. We kind of have to a degree, but you have to put that ego aside and make sure that you're hearing what people are saying, and you're letting them tell their story. Again, Joan just excelled at that. Maybe it took it too far in interviews by she actually really, she said that she didn't like to do interviews, that she was very shy, and it was hard for her.
It doesn't seem that hard for you. Are you okay with interviews? Because I can be rather abrasive, surprisingly. But
I like to do interviews. I do actually. I'd like to talk to people. So
when you are, I'm sorry to cut you off, but yeah, I am abrasive. But let me ask: do you feel that as an author who's becoming fairly well known on some levels, that you now have to stand for something, that you can't just be, Evelyn McDonnell, you wrote some books, or a journalist, you have 40-something, I guess, 30, 40 years in the field, but you also have to be Evelyn McDonnell, representative, woman writer, feminist of whatever wave the wave is right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And I have no problem with that. I've always identified myself as a feminist, and that's been really important to me. And I've, been an activist too. And that's been important to me. It's interesting to note that Joan Didion was neither of those things explicitly. She never identified herself as a feminist or an activist. And she really, it's one of the criticisms people have of her, is that she was very suspicious of social movements. She was not a not only was she not a joiner, she was very sometimes contemptuous even of the women's movement. They famously, in an article. So that's a place where I differ from her, but I can also see why she was reluctant, because yes, you can put yourself in this position where now I have to stand for all feminism and support all women, because I have declared that as my point of view. I mean, as I also believe that there's feminisms, right? There's not just one feminist form of feminism, and I also feel like we have to be able to critique each other. I would say that onus to appear respectable and think about what I say is thrust upon me more as a professor. And I'm also directing at LMU a new initiative that, I mean, this is brand new, hot off the press, starting this semester, called Media Arts in a Just Society, in which we're really trying to, it's an interdisciplinary initiative across the university, where we're trying to bring together people from film studies and communication studies and journalism and computer science, and to talk about what is happening in the world of journalism, of media production, across platforms, documentary filmmaking, podcasting, in this changing digital age, changing as you and I speak. But, by the time this airs in a few days,
Well,
who
Sports
knows?
Illustrated will be gone, so there goes the swimsuit. And then also the Baltimore Sun is new. I mean, and all these different, just in the past week, things have been
Yes.
over, and something was lumped into GQ.
Pitchfork was lumped into GQ. Sports Illustrated laid everybody off. The LA Times did a strike on a staged a walkout on Friday because there are big layoffs coming there.
So when you first started writing for places like, Miami Herald and things like that, I mean, it's a few years now. What have you seen as the good and the bad in the sea change of modern journalism?
Right. I mean, the good is that there has been an uprising of the voices that we have not heard enough of, primarily people of color, LGBTQ communities, women, that, were not given the ink, the inches in places that I worked at, even including the Village Voice, which, is supposed to be the epitome of progressive publishing, and, had a lot of the same issues as the Miami Herald did, sometimes more even. So, that's the good point of view. And the internet has amplified those voices, Black Twitter, RIP Black Twitter, RIP Twitter. But, the uprising of, voices not from official channels has been amazing. The decline of places like the Miami Herald, which is just a shadow of what it was when I was there just 15 years ago, literally, such a barely exists in print, and still tremendous, important, great journalism being done by people there, not to disparage those who are there, but they have one writer for arts coverage.
Wait. When you say art, like music, film, television, theater, sculpture, totally
Everything.
All of this. Wow.
Yeah. So, and I mean, a city that has an amazing arts community and deserves rich and diverse coverage. So, yeah. So
can I ask you then, why do you have a whole thing? You're starting this new initiative. You have students that you're teaching to be journalists. What are they expecting to do? They want to write. They want to be journalists. Where the hell do they expect to get jobs, and what are they hoping to learn?
Yeah, no, these are very good questions. I mean,
I'm a journalist too.
Yeah, no, I mean, we actually have a growing journalism department. Like, students are very, very interested in it. And they do, of course, they're interested in podcasting, right? There are growth fields, right? And, I think they're also interested in just learning how their own social media posts can be good journalism, because that is where journalism is taking place, and how they can be a critical media consumers as well as critical media producers, even if it's not necessarily how they're making their money, or if it's within a commercial environment and they are making their money, but how those things can still matter. But yeah, I mean,
all I can think of in my head right now is if the time somehow intersected, and back in like 1939, you get Hitler invades Czechoslovakia, but then it has like 20 more characters, and then it has to stop. Yeah. We'll figure it out in 1945. See next tweet. I mean,
We laugh in order not to cry, because is our world that far from that right now? I mean, there's a lot of very critical election coming up this year, and there's war, and there's environmental collapse, and so I kind of, I like the idea of, where everybody should think about how to be critical media consumers and producers, because we all are, right? Now, whether we're all going to figure out how to make an income doing that, whether all of my students are or not, and a lot of them do go on to become lawyers or other things.
Or at a certain point, they'll figure out a way to have a self-driving Tesla where you can be the Uber Tesla driver and write while you're driving. So that they make the income and they can write their books and their articles, which is important.
Yeah.
Do you believe, though, that writing or journalism or both can still change the world? Or is it just, it's great to read, it makes you think, and then there's the world?
Right. I still believe in the power of art to change people's thinkings and to make people see the world in new ways and then act accordingly. And I think, I think that we see that in writers like Ta-Nehisi Coates, right? Or Isabel Wilkerson. Absolutely. I think that these people are creating world change in the last few. Claudia Rankine doing poetry. I do. What role newspaper? Because even just the word newspapers, right, is now news media, right? Right. What is paper? I mean, I do still. Actually, do I still subscribe to any? I subscribe to things online. Subscribe to many things online. Which is, people are reading. People are reading. They're just reading online.
Well, true, and longer not just tweets or Facebook posts or even 500-word essays, but they'll Kindle everything. A book will still be a lot of people. By the way, we can read your book on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
We can get, yeah.
There's an audiobook. Yeah.
Ooh, who reads the audiobook?
Oh gosh, I can't think of her name right now because my brain's not working. But it's actually a pretty well-known audiobook reader. But I am spacing on her name right now. I wanted to do it.
I'm just guiding people to either buy the book, the hard copy book, on Amazon or wherever books are sold. It's called The World According to Joan Didion from HarperCollins Books. It's written by our guest, Evelyn McDonnell. We just have a couple of minutes left, if you don't mind.
No problem. I have my coffee. I can keep going.
Oh, this is good. And show the book again. Just hold it up. Hold it up.
Here it is.
Let's sell some copies there.
There we go. There's my name. And by the way, it's a really beautifully, yes, you can buy the ebook or the audiobook, but you will miss out on this beautifully designed cover, and particularly my favorite, the end papers, so you have to get this. This is a collage of illustrations by a wonderful illustrator named Anne Munches, and they're taken from the start of each chapter has a little drawing, gold, and then we also have, here's a picture of Joan Didion as a child. So it's really Harper One did a tremendous job of designing and printing this book. I'm going to find another drawing. There's the tablet notebook drawing. So it's a beautifully published book, an object that you want to hold, but you can also buy the ebook.
As long as you spend some money, because it's journalism 2024. We're not all working for free. I want to tell you what the most surprising thing about Joan Didion was for me. Not that I read one of her books and then saw your magical thinking on Broadway and stuff. But the thing that I didn't know, and then I would love for you to tell us what your biggest surprise, unexpected thing was about her. But I just didn't know about the Hollywood stuff. I didn't know that she was a script doctor, for want of a better term. Why don't you tell us about that?
Right. So she and her husband, John Gregory Dunn, worked together on screenplays, both doctoring other people's screenplays, but also writing their own. So they wrote the screenplay for Panic in Needle Park, starring Al Pacino, which I think is actually their best. And for the film adaptation of her book Play It As It Lays, they wrote the screenplay for A Star Is Born, the Chris Christopherson, Barbra Streisand version. There's many fingers in that pie, but they were credited with the screenplay. Up Close and Personal. So that was sort of that was how they made their money, right? And they loved doing it, but they didn't necessarily have the same sense of quality control, because they understood that writers were just cogs in the machine in Hollywood.
One thing that you brought up and that I found most fascinating was one of her goals in rewriting or working on scripts was to make the female characters more real, more less stereotypical, more likable, more human. Is that true?
Yeah, she did. She definitely pushed back against stereotypes in Hollywood, in the film industry. Her husband, John Grady Dunn, wrote a great book about their process of making Up Close and Personal. And he, talks about, how she would push back against negative stereotypes of women, or just cliches, really. And, some of it is just like, it's a cliche. Let's not like further that.
The ability to change, a script that had been 2 or 3 male writers, and to look at, what, I'm going to fix this. So she doesn't look like a blonde bimbo ditz. Or kind of right. Yeah. So that was that was their bread and butter for many years. Now, what was the most surprising thing that you discovered about in this process of writing the book?
Right. Well, I think one of the things was unearthing articles that haven't been anthologized, or speeches that she gave that I found in digging through archives, and that I feel like revealed different side of Joan that we don't always see. For instance, for the Saturday Evening Post in, I think, 68 it was, and definitely in the 1960s, she wrote a piece about why she hated cops, essentially about state violence against young and brown bodies.
That never happens anymore. Yeah. So.
But people, she was raised a conservative Goldwater Californian Republican, and some people felt like that was what she was her whole life, but it was not. She was far more complicated than that, and really in some ways changed her point of view, but in some ways always had a real resistance to authority that was evident. And and of course that strain of her questioning of the criminal justice system led to her seminal article on the Central Park 5 case decades before those youth were exonerated. So, and also seeing that sense in which she did question her own preconceived notions and change them, right? That sense of growth, because she was a very assured and sometimes condescending writer. She could be, right? She could be very imperious in her prose, but she also was very much about admitting her mistakes and vulnerabilities. And I tell people to read her book Where I Was From, which the title itself tells you, how she has changed. It's not where I am from, it's where I was from. Yeah, and it's her talking about how she was raised in this California myth of the frontier, and she's 5th generation California, daughter of gold rush explorers and pioneers, and she was taught to really value that, and she did, and how she realized that a lot of that is just now we would call it imperialist, settler colonialism, right? And that she really had a disillusionment with that, with her own, what her own mother, what her own parents taught her. And that's part of, and then she ended up leaving California and spending the last decades of her life in New York, which was no better. And she also eviscerates in Sentimental Journeys, but.
Because a writer's always going to find the things to admit. This is what we do. So,
Right.
I want to, before I get to our final question with Evelyn McDonnell, let's plug it one more time. The book, The World According to Joan Didion, which is available wherever books are books and things like. Plus, let's not forget your other books. It was Queens. It was
Queens of Noise.
Queens of Noise about riot girls and that whole era and thing. Plus, Mama Rama, a memoir of sex, kids, and rock and roll. Let me ask you, and I do not ask you this because you are a female, and females get asked this about, well, gee, okay, you're a wife, and a mom, and an academic, and a professional writer, writing not just journalism, but novel. How do you balance, how do you juggle? I would ask that of anybody. This is not sort of a pre-feminist question. How do you carve up your day?
Right. Well, I will say that my son, who you might have met, no, you probably didn't meet. He wasn't around when we were in the institute together, but my son is now in college. So I do have an empty nest, and it is much easier now to have time to write and do those things. When I raised 3 kids, I have 2 stepdaughters. You have to just try to make sure you set aside the times of the day. And I find this balancing teaching and writing too. Now that's the big task for me, is to not let my work at the university. Part of my work at the university is to write. They expect me to write. I should write. That's part of what we do. But realistically, when classes are on, it's very all consuming. So I try to have a day really that I set aside for writing. That works better for me than
part of every day. So one day or 2 days a week. So what do you do for writing? How much do you put aside?
I try to, when the school year is on, when I'm teaching, I try to just have one day that's devoted, and generally, hopefully it's Fridays, because that works well to okay, I don't have anything else I have to do. But usually there's stuff from the week that I have to finish, and it doesn't happen. When I'm not in classes, then I have a more when I have I have to write usually I have a certain number of word count a day. Writing
the word count thing, not the time thing. Interesting.
I do more the word count thing, and it's 1,000 words is generally the goal for this book. I was written in a very condensed period, so I was trying for sometimes 2,000. Which was a lot. So, yeah.
And it's not fair to ask this, so don't answer if you don't want to, but what are you working on now? Because writers and songwriters, they don't answer. Is it still, are you working on something that you can write?
I have a few book ideas that are I'm working on all of them, I think, or I'm working on a couple of them. I probably not about music. I do like to have stepped outside of the world of music. As I said, it's something I've always loved, but I've also always had other interests, and at this point I have all the music books, and I happy to look at some other things. So yeah, probably won't be music, but I also am just starting directing this new institute, so I'm a little focused on that, and we just started classes, so I'm sort of in a sorting it out. I'm wearing my sorting hat. I don't know which house I'm going to end up in to do a Harry Potter.
It's the only book I've read in the last 20 years besides the Torah, so it's amazing that I knew where that came from. And we are just delighted that you were able at least to take the time to talk with us, and especially at the beginning of the semester and everything like that. But what a joy talking with Evelyn McDonnell, the author of 3 books, including the most recent one, The World According to Joan Didion. When you finish this other thing that you're working that isn't music, but whatever the hell it is, please come back, talk to us, do some more. We would love to have you back. And just much more success in life and good things in writing to you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi, for having me, and happy birthday. If your listeners don't know, it's a special week for you. So
I should say not for me, for Dave.
For Dave. Okay, for Dave. Sorry.
He's the one who met you first because you went to the NEA
Right,
fellowship
sorry.
meeting and the thing. You don't know me. We've never met, but it's a pleasure to meet you, Dave.
Yes.
He returns his happy birthday. Thank you, Evelyn. I'm still on camera.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Dave.
Thanks.
Thank
And
you.
shalom to you.
Thank you. Bye.
So, here in the Daverhood, the delightful writer Evelyn McDonnell, and technically she did. She was right. She did meet Rabbi Saul Solomon way back because he kind of made his acting debut, his stage acting debut there when he was developing Shalom Dammit, an evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon conmigo, and then we started it there.
You loved that. I remember when you went to that fellowship, you loved it. You were so happy.
Yeah.
Where was it? UCLA?
USC.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know, let's not give credit to the wrong institution there.
That's where Hall's kids go. I forgot.
Yeah.
I'm not like smart with the.
But USC with the NEA, the National Endowment for the Arts,
Yes.
and it was just a marvelous,
You were the
marvelous time.
NEA 10.
or 12, whatever.
12,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, we were the.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. You know, your tax dollars at work paying these mid-career journalists to
Yeah.
do all this because it was a multi-million-dollar
Yeah.
foundational thing to do it.
Now you
But
just,
people come out with books from that.
no, now you just get AI. You just pay for AI.
Well, we just saw that SUNY Buffalo.
And I think Arizona State are linking with.
Yeah, a week ago, Arizona State said that they were
I
partnering.
don't understand
Yeah,
where I don't know where the money got. It's interesting. I'm sorry, David, but I have the pictures of. Did you show the acetatos? What did you show?
I haven't shown. No. In me, I was just setting up. I've talked about nothing yet.
You didn't show B or your. Where's
No,
your,
not
your,
B
where's
is
your
here.
mug? You showed your
Which
mug.
I haven't shown either anything. First of all,
Do
okay,
you have your 60 mug?
it was here. I was. Oh, it's in the
Okay.
bathroom. I was drinking because I love to drink in the bathroom.
Who doesn't?
That is my darling and adorable wife, Joyce. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. You're watching the 928th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream. Live on this Saturday, January. Excuse me, I have not, and this hasn't bugged me in a couple of weeks, but this morning I can't get the phlegm out the throat, but anywho. So
It
last,
might be because we ate all that Carvel cake yesterday.
I know.
Maybe the milk. You had a lot of milk last night.
Joyce and I treated ourselves to Carvel last night. It was left over.
Well, because you had Indian food and you said it was hurting your tummy.
Mm.
And I know sometimes, it might help.
Yeah, usually I love Indian food, but yesterday's was okay. And it was very, very
Was it hot?
creamy. No, it was just rich. It was tomato sauce with cream and whatever in it. Like little shreds of chicken. I'm like, can you spare it? It was all right.
Yeah.
So, but that probably gunked in my throat. And what better way to ungunk your throat than with ice cream? It does great for your tummy, but it creates wads, avalanches of phlegm rolling up and down your esophagus and your trachea.
You popped your button?
Yeah, well, oh yeah, look at this. Look at this thing, folks. I never wore this shirt. Oh, I can tell about the laundromat too. So much to talk about. So I never wore this shirt ever before. We got it some probably Kohl's or Marshall's or one of these places. Nice, hot, nice color.
It's beautiful
I look like a Long Island Railroad conductor. So I go to take it off the rack today to wear it on this episode of the show because I like to look bespoke. Look at it. Look at it. Look at that.
Wow.
And just so you know, yes, I have a belly at this point, but I didn't breathe and pop the button
No,
off.
but it's not. If you did so, it would be the button above.
It won't be this.
It wouldn't be that. I don't know what you.
Yeah.
Maybe
Or
like-
if I were Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'd pop the titty buttons. But no, I pop this button.
Were
I-
you
yeah.
playing the sport with axolotls and maybe you got carried
That could be
away?
it. That might be it. But here's so I take it literally off the rack of the closet, and the button is hanging like on one little thread. And by the time I get on the air, like the button's gone. I found it later on in another room. But this has been a weird week for garments because I started teaching again this week. I started teaching at one of the universities that I teach English and film at. And so I'm like, okay, because 2 weeks ago, I went to a laundromat, a tailor and laundromat, to get a couple of
Well,
pants.
it first started with this was the first laundry incident.
Oh!
I think it was like
We'll start there.
I believe that's what started
So
it.
let me roll back and back to when Joyce and I visited New York for 2 days, like 2 weeks ago. I talked a lot about that, and we stayed in a tiny but nice hotel
Castana.
on the east side of Manhattan, the Bastana Hotel. Very sweet, very charming, very clean, very nice, and wonderful people. I mentioned this on the show. Lovely staff. But when we first walked in to our room, what are you looking for, dear?
The Mission Barbecue bumper sticker.
Oh, I had that. I have it here. I have it with me. Thanks for
I
reminding
think
me.
the oxytotals are actually stuck together now, David.
Oh, that's a
The
problem.
Velcro, yeah.
So we're in the. Well, we first get in the room. We put our bags down in the room. Joyce is now throwing chickens at me. It's like, and you know, you go into a hotel room.
Yes.
You want to be impressed, yeah, but you want to feel like, this does not happen much in Manhattan anywhere you go, unless you're like, well, Donald Trump, when he was $86 million richer, would walk into his own hotel room and you know, be able to be impressed. This is like, oh, okay, it's a closet. It's a glorified closet, and it faces another building. Fine, whatever. It's New York. We're not going to be in here long anyway. Looks clean, looks nice, and the bed was really nice. But I put down my suitcase in the little like corner space where a suitcase would fit, and I'm like, what the hell is that? So I lean over and I look down and I realize that whoever, a previous or maybe many previous tenants of the room had a dirty sock. Right, and somehow the maids, the cleaning people missed it. And by the way, we waited when we got into town quite early and we're hoping for a room. And they made us wait like an hour and a half for a room. So because they had to clean all the rooms.
We checked in at noon.
Yeah.
And we should have checked in at 3.
Yeah, exactly. So but after an hour and a half, we figure, okay, they've got to have cleaned some rooms. I think they kind of gave us a room that hadn't been fully cleaned because the first thing I notice is like, oh, somebody's dirty sock. Now, a normal person would call down to room service and go like, lost and found, and this is disgusting. Can you give us another room or something? But me, I'm like, okay, this is an important object. But
And you named it Sock of Wonder.
not yet. No. It wasn't a sock of wonder yet. You're missing the important second step.
Yes, I know what made it wonderful. I get it. Okay.
So I'm like, you know what, this is gross, but everything else seems kind of clean, and the bathroom looked nice. And
Yeah.
so, you know, I crawl over in the 3 inches of space in the room to get to the garbage can where we put, you know, food we had, whatever, and stuff we didn't need. We go out the next day and we're spaziering all over Manhattan and over. That day I went to the theater. The next day I went to Long Island. You went to Queens.
We went shopping
And I thrown the sock into a garbage can, the garbage can in the room. We come back, the room is cleaned after we've been through it. You know, we went away, and the garbage had been taken away.
Yes.
The sock,
Yes.
which has more lives than a cat, I expect, remained. The somehow the cleaning people thought, I guess.
This is what I believe. So
Yeah.
I believe they don't. I believe the cleaning person didn't think that that the people checked out. She probably thought, okay, I'm just cleaning the room, and she cleaned the room and placed the sock. You know, like like what you do is like if you're cleaning a bed or something and you see a sock or something, you place it. So I think they just thought it was the same. Like,
Well, it was. We were there for another night.
yeah, but I think they thought before us and after us, it's just the same poor schmuck who keeps losing the sock. Yeah.
Wow. Maybe, you know, that makes sense.
It's a Nike sock, so it's expensive.
Yeah, it was a Nike Dry Fit. You pay $30 a pair. I would not pay. I don't pay more than $2 a sock. I think it's ridiculous. It's a fucking sock. It goes on your foot. Nobody sees it. You know, it's like people pay like $30, $40 for a pair of socks. I mean, socks, for crying out
You have
loud.
to go to Michael's too to remember for your stuff.
But so the sock which we had thrown out reappears, and we ended up calling it
Here, I'm going to give you the photo so people can see
the
it.
sock of wonder,
I don't know if there's
because it is the sock that understands that it's not going to be thrown away.
Well, the picture, I guess. Why look? It's backward. The spelling. What happened to the?
Oh, maybe it's just
What?
Oh, I probably flipped the bag, but
okay. I was like, wow.
there's a sock of wonder.
Didn't you bring it to school the first day?
It's still in my bag. I've had it in my bag the whole week because it's ostensibly good luck.
Maybe it's looking for its mate.
It is. Well, I tried to pair it with one of my socks with a hole in it, but
No.
no, because you figure sock of wonder with a holy sock. It
No,
would,
this
that didn't
special,
happen.
yeah.
Did not happen.
No,
So
yeah.
this began my odyssey with clothing this week.
Then
So
you were trying on clothes for your first day of school.
Right. On this past Monday, was my first day teaching. I'm like, okay, I got these brand new pants, hemmed,
Fancy pants.
at a place in Mace Chapel, which we're in Maryland, by the way. So I brought it in, and we waited like more than a week. Came back, got the pants like a week and a half ago. Yay! All ready. I go to my closet. I take the pant down to wear it for school, and then I'm a short person. I'm not a little person, but I am 5'2". I'm nothing. I'm like a speck of dust in terms of the heights of people. So I need my pants hemmed. I can never buy off the rack. A 5'8" person can take a pair of pants, get it off the rack, and if it has cuffs. Wait, this is.
That's you buying your pants.
Was it?
This is my own doodoo feces.
There's nothing to do with anything.
It doesn't.
So I go to. I pull the pants on, and the leg of the pant still goes like a half a yard past my foot. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? So I grabbed the other pair of pants and I put that on, and that one goes like halfway past my foot. So for a week, these tailors have had my pants, which we prepaid for. You give a credit, and it was like, they took them, put a tag on them, put them in one of those garment plasticky see-through bags that you can asphyxiate children with. And then handed them back to me.
I think what happens was like they got in the wrong pile. Someone thought they were already fixed and they weren't.
Yeah. But this is the same tailor that I knew better because a month earlier we'd been at the tailoring place.
Yeah.
I went in there to do something, and there was a guy there.
But that restaurant next to them is fantastic.
Yeah, Cooper's no, it's good. But I go back into the tailor. This is a month ago. I go to the tailor thing, and
why were you going in there?
there's a guy. I wanted to do something. I wanted to do a pair of pants there.
Oh, okay.
And there was a guy asking for his suit because he had a suit and a pair of pants. I was waiting for that to come back, and the guy was looking. And finally, the guy comes out. Hey, that's a Chinese fella. And the guy's like, "Where's my suit? Where's my jacket?"
Oh no!
And so, there was a jacket. Yes, there was a jacket with it.
Oh no!
And
What
I was like, "Whoa, boy!" And I quickly stepped out of there. I ended up seeing the guy in the parking lot because I went to Growl's Market instead of that tailor. And I said to the guy, "Did he find your thing?" He said, "Yeah, I found it, but they didn't clean it yet. I have to bring it back for another week."
That's what's happening. Somebody's just.
Yeah, they're idiots. They don't know what they're doing.
No, there's some kind of chain. There's some kind of problem in the processing chain where they take it and they give it back without. They don't.
Yeah, without doing anything. So I should have known better than to go back to this, because I did a decent job hemming another pair of pants
they did a great
months
job.
ago.
Yeah.
So I had no problem with them.
That's so weird. Yeah.
But this time it's like, here, I'll give you a pair of pants that need to be hemmed with a 25 inseam, and please do that. Here's my credit card, and then I'll take them back. They'll fit. Instead, it's like, here's my pants. Take my credit card. Give me the exact pair of pants untouched, like I gave you, with nothing done to them at all. It's like, I'm going to put my money in a bank with zero, which people have been doing for 20 years, with 0% interest, and just give me the exact amount of money I came back instead of hanging in my mattress.
It's a good work plan. I like it.
So that was my week in garmentry, and now this. Now this brand new shirt that's already lost a damn button.
Shirt later,
Of course, I'm not going to wear this. Yeah, and I would have worn this for a day in school because this is a nice new shirt. Yeah,
it'll take me 5 seconds to put a button on.
Yeah. No, let me hand you the shirt. You would tell me, give me 2 days.
Oh yeah, I'll give it. No, I'm gonna give it back to you with all the buttons cut off.
That's brilliant.
No, I'm gonna give you back another shirt all wrinkled with no buttons.
Oh, even better.
Remember what the vet did when we brought Murray in?
Oh, tell the story.
So we brought Murray in. He was
Murray was our dachshund, one of our 2 dachshunds that we
little
had.
red dachshund. So we brought him in for a medical, like a cleaning, a bath. And she came out and she said, oh, something happened in the bath. He got shrunk. And she brought a dachshund puppy. That was funny.
That was funny as hell. First, I panicked. I'm like, let's have our dog. And then it takes me a moment sometimes.
Do you want to take off the shirt now and I can do the button on your
shirt? I mean, we could. You want me to do the show on my undershirt?
No.
No, I could. No.
Want me to get you another shirt? You could.
Well, when we go later,
okay,
I can wear it. The thing is, the camera stops here.
Oh, okay.
So if I was like this, all the way down here.
Beautiful. It's like double stitched.
Yeah, it's a nice shirt, or it should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah,
these things happen, David.
I know.
It's just a button. It's not a sleeve.
No, but it's a brand new shirt that paid probably either $12 or $15 for.
I think it looks like a Kohl's. Yeah. I can't see the tag. You want me to look?
I mean, old Dave doesn't splurge for $20 for a shirt. Oh no, Dave. Yeah, he keeps his shirt costs.
Do you want the pictures from your birthday? Or
well, yeah, we're talking as we're talking. Things will come up.
Okay.
So my birthday was on Tuesday of this past week.
The cake photos, right?
And so we couldn't really do anything really extravagant or extraordinary because I already started teaching. Joyce had meetings this week with her school. We'd come back from New York the week before. But let's roll through some. I'll go backwards because time-wise.
Backwards is to the bottom.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. So I think I showed the rest stop frog that I love.
Yeah, I remember the governor of New Jersey. He's the looker.
Yeah, those I showed last week. I did rescue my potato costume from New York. That is me on the toilet wearing a potato costume.
You look so happy.
People do have photos on their graves. Like they can actually be remembered.
No.
This is how I want people to remember and visit me. David on the toilet in a potato costume. Is there anything that is more me than this?
Yeah, you eating a brisket sandwich.
And so, then we come to the gifts, which I'll talk about.
You could fix it though. You're showing too much. While you're showing, just click on the full thing.
Well, hold on. Whenever I do that, it doesn't like to. There we go. So yeah, but we haven't explained this yet. So on my birthday, which is my special day. Almost hit the axle on it.
No, this almost fell on me.
Oh.
That would have been very painful.
Let me just blow some phlegm out of my nose.
I'm looking to see if anybody sent you messages. I'm going to go back to your message.
Thank you, yeah. So, the way to make my birthday special, for me, these days, instead of travel or I was thinking, I really wanted to.
What?
Was really thinking about doing one of those flying lessons, but not like going up in a plane or a helicopter or anything like that and like taking the controls, because I'm a nervous driver to begin with. And I would do 9/11 by accident. And that would be my thing. I mean, I correct myself and then overcorrect and then go into like the second tallest building in New York. So I'm not going to do that. But they have these places, and there's one just like 2 miles from here where you can fly. Then you go into this padded chamber thing. You put on a puffy suit and a helmet, and they blow air under you.
Oh.
And you fly. It
doesn't seem like, I think if you're going to do something like that, you should parachute.
But it's like well, you mean real parachuting?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have that. Let's just say I wouldn't wear white pants while doing that. Let's just say that. But it's completely safe. It's completely fun. You just go up, they puff air, and you're lifted maybe 7 feet off the ground, off mattresses, and you just float and fly, which I think is just the most wonderful, lovely idea of complete freedom, like the equivalent of the feeling I get when I go swimming, or when I just kind of ease back in a swimming pool, and there's no, or not zero gravity, but less gravity. You're just kind of hanging or floating. It's a wonderful feeling. I would love to do that even more on air. It was a feeling that I used to get when I was a kid, and not so much of a kid, when I would go into my parents' bedroom when they weren't there, and I was a tiny kid, and I would jump up and down on their mattress, destroying their mattress, and and treat it like a trampoline. I would fall forward and bounce up. It was the most delightful
So why don't
feeling.
you go try that?
I would do this for hours.
I'll get your primary care physician on.
I tried doing it on our carpet here. It didn't work. And
Try it on the bed. You could try it.
well, I don't want to mess up our bed. I'm also not, I'm not 10 anymore.
You could try it. You're very.
I think by the time I was 12, I stopped doing that and started doing other things to mattresses. But the thing is, I just like jump. I fall. I never fall off the bed. It was always safe because I was so small in relation to the size of this queen size whatever mattress. I would just go whoop and bounce up. And it was a way to get the energy out because we were living in a little apartment in like Brooklyn at the time. And even, I guess when we had moved to a house in Long Island, I was still small. I don't know if I was doing it when I was 12 or 13. Probably not. But the most fabulous feeling. So I thought, how can I recreate that moment, that joy that I had doing calisthenics and acrobatics and just basically tumbling on the bed. And then, don't get it. And I'm like, well, those flying things where you go into this dome thing and you fly up in the air and you just kind of hang there. And so there is a local place, but they tell you, if you read the reviews, it's like, oh, it's wonderful, it's fun, it's fantastic. That you get trained, you put on the suit, the thing. It's like $80, and they puff air under you, and you're literally floating for a minute.
You could always do it. There's no expiration. Like if you feel so inspired to do it, you could do it anytime you want. It could still be your birthday event. It could be, whenever.
But then they recommend, like, they upcharge you. They go, you should go for the special package, which means that you don't float for a minute. They keep you up there for 3 minutes.
Yeah, but that's a big difference.
It is.
Think about, like, if you're timing something in minutes, like, whoop, 3 minutes is like
It is longer. You feel 3 minutes,
I think
but
3 minutes is probably.
But you have to pay like $120 to fly for like 3 minutes in a chamber.
What happens? Do you vomit? Like if you get sick or something?
I don't think you. First of all, you're not like
Are you on
10,000
is somebody
feet.
on top of you, or are you alone?
No, this is not like
You're
skydiving.
Alone? You're alone?
Yeah. You're literally. I guess they take the wind takes your legs out from under you, takes away the gravity, and you just hover. You hover in the air, floating on wind, on gusts of air.
Oh wow!
It sounds wonderful. But I don't want to pay $120 to float for 90 seconds.
Somebody told me they did it and it wasn't what they expected.
Yeah, every Yelp review says this would have been really great if.
If what?
If it lasted for 10 minutes.
Oh,
if it wasn't $100 and something to do this for 10 seconds.
Yeah, but we don't have that equipment, so you got to pay for that stuff.
Of course, you're paying for the
You
space.
don't have that equipment. If you had that equipment,
well, you know what? I also don't own like an ice rink and hockey sticks. But if you go over to Grant Park, they're not going to charge you $500 to go skating.
It was nice to see the kids ice skating at Hopkins.
Yeah.
Like I saw when I was in Bryant Park, they have ice skating. They have all sorts of. They made Bryant Park in New York the same way.
Yeah.
So they had ice skating.
But here's what I don't understand.
What?
I mean, we're kind of jumping.
I'm sorry, David.
No, but it is related. But we were in Baltimore yesterday. This is what Joyce is referring to, and we saw. I don't know where it was, but near Johns Hopkins University, we saw people ice skating, which was amazing, except for the fact that it was almost 70 degrees. How the hell? How do you have ice skating outdoors in 70-degree weather?
The machine keeps it cool.
Right. I mean, I don't know the exact joke, but it's about the Polish ice skating team. They were practicing in August and they drowned. I mean,
I'd rather ice skate than go in the because I probably will get vertigo on that thing, but I think you should try it.
Oh, I might, but it was one of the things I was thinking about for my birthday.
Are there like places that do that kind of thing?
Well, none going to be so close. This place is literally a mile and a half from here.
So you could do it anytime you wish.
Exactly. But I was thinking, when I read the reviews, I thought, if I'd seen, you have to do this, or it's expensive but it's worth it, and you got instead it's like.
Is it called skydiving? Is that the name?
Indoor something, or indoor trampoline. Except you're not really trampolining.
Indoor flight trampoline park?
You try that, yes.
Flight trampoline park? What the heck kind of?
I think it's right near the post
Yeah, but
office.
why would you call it that?
But well, it puts all the things
They have
people
one in
Google.
Baltimore called iFly.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. I can't imagine it's that much better.
Let's look. The kid looks very happy.
Well, yeah, they're not going to put
You have to wear a
a
helmet.
picture of a kid crying and vomiting.
It does disturb me that you have to wear a helmet, though.
Well, yeah, I guess if you accidentally fall or go too high.
Prices and booking.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see the prices on this iFly thing.
Oh, you can host a birthday party there.
Sure.
It says this is $139.99. Double the flying time of the 2 flight and more than twice the fun.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand.
But the flying time of the 2 flight is a minute. I mean, it's a cost more than a Broadway show to do this.
I don't get it.
People go skiing for, I think. I've never been skiing
No, you
either.
don't go skiing for more than that.
But this is safer than skiing. This is literally, there's no risk here. This is not something like where you're even taking skydiving lessons or, go to a thing and for a private
Is there a weight
plane.
restriction? Oh my God.
Well, extra wind.
Do you have training sessions? What is a high flight? Uh-oh.
Oh, so that sounds a little more.
Should I eat before can I wear my glasses? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting. Maybe goggles.
Remove jewelry, necklaces, rings, watches. Can I do tricks and flips in the tunnel? They're like.
Well, I remember when you used to do tricks in the Holland Tunnel, but it was
They're
very
like,
different.
no.
Yeah.
Flight suit. It says it takes an hour 45 minutes.
Really?
I guess they train you, but then you go up in the air.
For like probably 40 minutes, you have to listen to some asshole. They're like, zip this, put this, and we're going to put that, and then this is going to happen.
How long is the flight? Each flight in the wind tunnel is 60 seconds.
Yeah. Woo! It reminds me of Disneyland. It reminds me, which I hated.
Is it
and
scary?
Disney World. You wait online for like 50 minutes to go on a thing that's going to, and those cases, going to terrify you. And be really creepy and scary and which I hate. And then it's over. Like an hour to do something that lasts a minute and a half. But in the case, at least, of those Knott's Berry Farms type places, you want it to be over. You're in a roller coaster, you're in the flume or whatever the hell, the zip things. You want it to be over as fast as possible. Here it is. Here's a video. Here it is. Well, and now it's Hasidic Jews in Brooklyn, New York. What the hell?
I don't know what's going on.
I think your Twitter thing just gives a preview, or it goes to something completely else. Now, $140 to hang with some Hasidic Jews of Brooklyn for 60 seconds. That I would do. That would be fun. We dance. We surreptitiously look at women we couldn't have and see if their ankles were showing. I mean, that would be worth it. Anyway, so I had my birthday this past Tuesday, and part of the fun of the birthday was not doing the overpriced flying thing, but getting my Mission barbecue because I got a free sandwich. Here I actually have I had it and then I moved it. And now I don't know where here it is.
We constantly lose it. It's very funny.
Ta-da!
They've given you a Christmas sandwich, a holiday sandwich, a birthday sandwich.
Free sandwich.
And they gave me a sweet potato that was huge. It was delicious. That baked sweet potato was delish.
Yeah. So we can get that again. And as they promised, even though they switched from the prime rib,
your favorite,
black plate special, they did switch to another steak.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's fair enough. Now the steak is just not as good as the prime. It's gristly. It's tasty, but it's not on the level of the prime rib. But it's still steak. So old Dave had steak for.
Well, you've only had it once at the local one. You got to go back to the other place you normally go and see if it's different.
Right.
Maybe there's a difference.
Oh, maybe.
Yes.
Maybe. And I have the free sandwich the next day for lunch. So already I'm happy. And we're also debating back and forth of like whether should I get like special bakery cupcakes for my thing? But we were in a supermarket and we saw Carvel.
You have my phone.
Oh, to show these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, to show
Yeah.
the
The picture.
Yeah, I'll do it. Hold on. And the thing was seeing Carvel in the case in the supermarket. We're like, you know what? We're here. As good as the cupcakes are going to be, it's not like ice cream. Let's just do the traditional Lefkowitz thing. Let's have Carvel cake. And so Joyce got me. Let me get the best picture of it. There it is.
Oh my goodness.
This one's decent.
Sweet dreams are made of cheese. Who am I to disagree?
Oh, I saw that.
The
Yeah.
cheddar, the world, and the feta cheese. Everybody's looking for Stilton.
Everybody's looking for Stilton. That's lovely. That's a good picture, huh? And Joyce found these golden wax candles for my 60th birthday.
I
We
want to
actually lit them.
go to Michael's and get a curio case for them.
Yeah,
Today,
to keep them as a keepsake.
Yeah,
But
yeah, they're pretty.
there it is, Carvel ice cream. It was a small cake, so it defrosted in about 10 minutes. And was delicious and edible. Did you know that Carvel now makes cakes, at least for the supermarket market, that has cookie dough in them? So it's not just a regular ice cream with crunchy. It's ice cream with cookie dough and crunchy. I like the regular best, but for a change, I'll eat cookie dough from today until next Millennium Thursday. So yeah, Mission Barbecue, Carvel, same day. This is a birthday. What do we actually do on my birthday? I mean, did we go any? Did we do anything?
Your birthday, you had food. You ate food.
Food is good. I like food.
I don't remember.
I mean, I think we shopped the day before for the cake.
Yeah.
So maybe I just hung in and prepared for school and worked a bit and wrote a bit and did some stuff. I think that's all we did. I think I just took a very mellow day.
Jackie Ripper says, happy birthday.
Thank you, Jackie. Any other birthday wishes or?
I can't track. It's very hard for me to find you live. So I have you live, and then I have your messenger. I think Iris said something, but I don't know what she said.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. But yeah, no, I'm already an old man. Now, I mean, I was 60 several days ago now. So now I'm officially 60. It's not even special anymore. But back earlier in the week, it was. As a matter of fact, I'm glad I did this. I asked Joyce to take a picture of me at exactly 5:49 p.m. this past Tuesday. There it is. Because I went back and I have found my old birth certificate. I was talking about it last week. And I was wondering when exactly I was born and where. So it turns out I was in fact born in Brooklyn. Because I didn't know if the hospital I was in Brooklyn or New York City or Manhattan. It was in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And the great thing about the birth certificate is it's what hospital? And there's a blank line. And nothing is, look, what word do you think is in that line? One word.
What?
Jewish.
No, Maimonides probably.
No, it's called. It doesn't, technically it's Brooklyn Jewish Hospital.
Oh, because
where I was born.
my mother was a nurse in Brooklyn Women's, and that doesn't exist
I wasn't born in
anymore.
Brooklyn Women's, yeah.
No, Brooklyn Women's was OBGYN. You could have been born there.
Oh, I see, yeah. But I wasn't. It was a place that so much of my life has been destroyed in a weird way because the elementary school I went to, Bialik School in Brooklyn, the building's still there, but it's been something else for decades. My junior high school South in Unit Woodmere.
Nice.
I'm sorry, what?
Jackie says nice.
Thank you, Jackie. The junior high school that I went to, that was demolished, and that was until college, like my favorite school ever. That I wonderful time there. That's gone, and even the hospital I was in, but it's still there. But amazingly, now it's called Interfaith Hospital.
Ozer remains.
Yeah. Well, no, some people remain. Although I did lose, we lost was it high school or it was actually high school. About 2 weeks ago, Jonathan Udis, who was in our classroom, our homeroom, he passed.
A classmate?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What did he die of? Do you know?
It was sudden. It was unexpected. It was yeah.
Were you close to him as a friend?
No, but I mean, I remember him, and I remember him from homeroom and kind of a thing. It's
he was in your home. Yeah,
he was a cohort.
Your homeroom. People remember. You may not remember everybody in your high school, but you remember your homeroom.
Also because the names were called every morning, name after name after name.
JKL, yeah.
So, yeah, you start losing the people your age. Yeah. That's when you really start feeling your age, man. But anyway, so that picture was based off the birth certificate that I was born. I even remember when I was born.
You should show the one with the 4.
All right, I will. Yeah.
You want me to get it?
I was at 5:40, born at 5:49. PM.
I'll do it here.
In the afternoon.
What are you doing?
And so I had Joyce take a picture of me at 5:49 p.m., the exact moment that I turned 60 years old. Because everybody said, well, at midnight, you're suddenly 60. It's like, no, not really. I'm still technically 59. And by the time we took this shot, the clock on the phone had already changed to like 50, I think. Did that? Yeah. So it was at that point, I was 60.
Yes, that's the actual moment when you turn 60.
Well, here's the moment I turned, there's me.
Just show them the baby
Me being
one.
born. Yeah, here's the baby one.
Oh, is that you're doing? You can shrink it. You gotta just shrink it with your fingers like this. Look.
There you go. Well, why would I shrink? Here. Okay.
Well, go to other ones.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my birthday. It was a very, very nice birthday, and Joyce got me. One of the cool things is a number of gifts. It's like one big gift or going somewhere and doing something. And she's been promising a big gift that I'm thinking about.
You could fix the website. If there are any web designers and any people that are non-Bluehost.
And isn't it funny that yesterday, I got a thing from Bluehost that they're updating their servers. And
miracle of miracles. Yeah.
So anywho, but by the way, folks, over the past couple of weeks, Bluehost has been fine. My website's been fine. I've been loading up the best possible quality copies of my old episodes. It's been great. So, but Joyce wanted to get me, in our perambulations over the past week or so, rather than get me something big or something, she was like, let me get little fun gifts.
You're an Aquarian.
Yeah, little things that will distract you momentarily from the sorrow and misery that is in your soul.
From the button popping.
So Joyce, of course, wants to show this first. And I put this up as my Facebook picture, I believe.
It confused everyone because you said the clock had eyes, and they thought you meant...
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah. I thought they were talking about these things.
Yeah.
They thought there's a clock behind me that has eyes on it.
Of course.
But here's the thing. Joyce, one of the things that she thought would be fun...
Oh, you can show the game. The box is the game.
The box is the game, yeah. So here we go. She got this. And what you do is... You wear.
One of these dimples is from
I can't grab it. Here, okay.
Watch the diapers falling off.
Oh no! Oh, it fell and here it is. So now the axolotls we have axolotls. I've talked about.
That's the new one.
Yeah. We don't have actual axolotls.
That's
we just
the
have toy
dimples.
ones.
Oh, Dimples lost his.
His what? Oh, he lost his head. Yeah, I'm gonna take off to talk about it. So axolotl has been wearing the special happy hat. Oh, there. Oh, he's taking over the show now. Fix that.
Sorry.
So, this genius idea, whoever had it, is you put on the hat as part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like a shower cap, right?
There's a ribbon in here.
It's like a shower cap.
Yeah, it is essentially like a shower cap with with colors and numbers. And depending on
I think the green is...
one is 100, one is 50.
You have the elastic underneath. Take the elastic out.
Ow!
Yeah, put the elastic
What? This ties it on your head.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh boy. Oh,
yeah. Now you. Yeah. Okay. So you're supposed to take your balls.
Yeah.
And throw somebody else or you throw them. Try to catch the balls with your hat on the Velcro here, depending
but you
on
don't have to tie for safety.
Oh well, yeah. When I do the flying thing, I tie it. Yeah. So do you want to try and hit me in the head?
No.
Oh, so.
Okay, I'll do it here, gently.
Here. So Joyce is going to try and hit me in the... Look at that! Look at that! And it landed on blue, which is what, 50?
Yeah, can I have the other... Give me the
here's another ball. Here's another box of balls. Hours of fun, my friends. Hours. Oh! Another 50, though. I don't think that's... So you got 100 so far.
I'm not doing well.
Here. Take another one of my balls, dear.
Okay, throw it.
All right.
Oh, I dropped it. Oh, it's not. Don't get in the food.
Oh, it bounced off my head. Or in this rest. Too high.
That was too far.
I have another one.
Just one more. This is it.
Yeah.
I want to get 100. Turn a little that way. Oh, one more.
That one. I got one more here. Here we go. Oh, it sideswiped me.
You heard it, right?
Well, yeah, I heard it. It went right by my ear. Take one more. Here we go. Okay, that didn't quite work. But you got 100. And what you can do is play this game, because you got 50-50.
Well, I didn't want you to play alone, so I got a second helmet for me so we could play with each other, play it like a team sport.
Yeah, haven't been so many balls in a man's face since the gym neighbor's Christmas party. But thank you. Hours of fun playing. I do look like a scrub nurse now. Oh yeah, go ahead and cheat. I'll raise this up a little bit so people can really enjoy this. Yeah.
Oh, you look like a little Christmas tree, Boopy.
Oh, I thank you, yeah.
You look handsome.
Really?
Yeah, I like it.
Well, thank you there.
Oh, Accidental, just show the second one.
Oh,
the second helmet is on the floor. You dropped helmet.
Well, the thing is, you won't go on camera, but I would love to try and...
There's a ball behind you. Hold on, one more.
There's a ball behind me. All right, where is it? There's a chicken behind me, too.
For a second, just bend down. Okay. Here we go. Let me see.
I look like a spokesperson for Florida oranges.
That's so pretty. The color choices are really lovely.
Yeah. And it is fun. It is absolutely silly, crazy party fun. Yes. Especially probably when people start getting drunk, or the further away you go, the harder it is to do. Yeah. So, here, I'm going to give you another couple of shots.
No, I think it's...
Oh, we're good? We're good. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want you to hurt you. I think it looks great.
So this was one of the gifts for my 60th birthday.
You look like a cluster of grapes.
Thank you. I'm going to pull this...
Oh, no, untie it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, here it is. Okay.
First
so, yeah. Other people...
Oh, my goodness. Look.
Yeah. Oh, that's me live. That's horrifying.
Lordy.
Yeah. Probably getting lots of thumbs up right now for the humiliation of Dave.
Somebody's laughing.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, it's fun. And for a couple of bucks, we get this at the local... like the school bookstore or wherever you...
Jackie said he went to South, Mr. Walling, and it looks like a sheep.
Mr. Walling! I never heard that name in 45 years.
Am I saying it right?
Wait, who said that? From Jackie?
Yeah.
Mr. Walling, he was the principal, I think. Yeah. And Mr. Stone, and there was Mr. McCloat. But I'm also confusing it with high school. Junior high was, we loved her, Mrs. Kolb. She was great.
Who was the principal that reached out to you? Was that grammar school? Remember a teacher reached out to you from grammar school?
Oh, recently. Oh, well, we had Mrs. Guberman.
Yes.
Was no. Mrs. Vodkin. She was the assistant principal or something like that.
For grammar school or high school?
She was from Bialik.
Oh,
she was
goodness.
Grammar school. She was on the show for a few minutes.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
She's alive. I think she's 90-something. She's living in Israel. God bless her. But thank God.
Who were these people from high school?
Yeah. Oh, or junior high. Because junior high was near high school. They were both in Hewlett Woodmere.
So, okay, I didn't go to this junior high school system. I went to a different school system.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between junior high and high? Like junior high is seventh? Eighth?
It can vary from place to place, but for me, for where we were, junior high was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade.
Okay.
Or 7th and 8th. And then high school was 10th, 9th, 10, 11, 12, I think.
Wow. Why did they do that? Because of volume of kids?
Yeah, probably. Okay. As opposed to some places just have parochial school and then go into high school.
Oh, yeah, I'll take your phone.
Either one. Yeah. Okay.
I don't understand that.
I think junior high was only... Because I came in... Junior high would have been 7th, 8th, and 9th, I think. Oh. Or something. And you know what? It's a lot of years ago.
Yeah.
Anywho. By the way, it's 10 to 11 Eastern Time here in the Daverhood. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. We're doing the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream with me and with my wonderful wife, Joyce. We thank so much to Rabbi Saul Solomon for doing that interview with Evelyn McDonnell. We thank Evelyn McDonnell, too. Make sure to get her book, The World According to Joan Didion. No, we're not going away. I'm just doing a station identification kind of thing. We have so much more to talk about. We've got Greeley Times coming up. BUNION Watch.
Marie said...
Yeah.
That is funny. A fun day to you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe she.
My birthday.
Yeah,
it was a fun day.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jackie said it was 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Oh, she knew. These are people,
Yeah,
right? 7th, 8th, and 9th grade
okay.
was junior high school, and it was a place called Junior High School South, because there was also a junior high north, and we had terrible rivalries on north.
Really?
North.
What was your team?
Ask Jackie.
I don't know.
She remembers a lot more, and he
Like the team, yeah. I remember all my mascots. No, I don't know what.
I remember this, but this might have been from high school rather than junior high. I think it was high school, where there was not a contest, but they were asking the students to name the team.
Oh no.
Because they needed a new name or didn't have a name or something. They wanted a name for the football team.
Yeah, no.
And we had an asshole gym teacher. It was really a piece of work. But one of the things was they were asking people to write down and like one after another. They couldn't read them out loud.
Why would you even do that? You know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, in college you could do it, but in high school.
I mean, yeah, like hello.
Like the Hewlett Pussies, the Hewlett Putrid Defecations.
Death metal, right?
So yeah.
Wow.
I forgot. Now, from me being goody two shoes, I put down a real one, but it wasn't that good. Yeah.
But that they shouldn't. That just is like certain things you can't.
You can't really expect. Yeah. But what I did expect was more fun gifts on my birthday. So Joyce got me a mug.
It's shiny. Well, it's shiny.
The woman at the shop apparently.
I loved her.
Yeah.
So I said, I need presents. It's a 60th birthday. She said, man or woman? I said, man. And she said, do you need paper goods like plates? And I said, no. And so she showed me this, and I said, oh, it's perfect. And she said, did you see it? I said, what? She said, it's shiny. Yeah.
I think her brain scan is kind of shiny.
No, I think she thought like that made it special because it is iridescent. It's not just a plain mug.
Like, here's the thing I don't understand about mugs. I don't. This is new to me. Unless this is a left-handed mug.
No, it's so the person drinking the mug can see. Look at
But it's never like that. A rainbow, yeah. This thing makes a rainbow on the wall. So it looks like, oh, cute, nice white big mug. Da, shiny. There you go. But the thing is, only the person drinking sees it, unless you're lefty. If you're lefty, it's for the world to see.
I want to make some tea. Do you want tea?
No, I'm good. But
Can
go
I
and
make a tea real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, shiny. So I got a very special, beautiful, and I love the size of it. You can do like 24 ounces of coffee if you wanted to in this.
That would have been the way that I would have marketed it, but I think it is opalescent, which is, I guess, hard.
Opalescent.
It's opalescent.
What a
I would
word.
have said, it's opalescent, and that would have been like my selling feature.
Now you would figure one.
It's fancy, right?
Well, yeah, it's beautiful. It's one, and it's of course the right perfect for a person turning 60. And the other thing is, hey, it's a big birthday for me. One mug is just not enough. So Joyce, she wasn't even thinking really about getting me another mug, but she saw this. And she's like, yes, I have to do this for Dave, my husband. She gets this other very kind of nice mug with this beautiful gold rim coloring. And inside the mug, there's writing, and it says, I better not say anything till I've had my coffee. Cynical when you realize, and you turn it around, that this mug is dedicated and devoted to Her Highness Beatrice Arthur. Yes, Joyce knew my sexual proclivities for the great Beatrice Arthur. Male, female, somewhere in between, whatever she is, it's B, as I've always loved to say, if you can't be good, be Arthur. Love her. I mean, come on. She was in Three Penny Opera. She was in Fiddler on the Roof. She was on The Golden Girls, of course. Maude on TV. She's B. And now, whenever I take a sip of water and a gargle, I can take it from the top of B's head. Is this like the best birthday ever? Ever? A 60 mug, B. Arthur, a head full of balls. I mean, it doesn't get better, does it? So, yeah, not too. There was a couple of other gifts that we can't really do until next week. Joyce bought me a little baby crystal ball. This thing where apparently you rub your hand over it and different things come up of your future, presumably and hopefully all positive. Not, your cancer screaming will come up positive. But no, it's going to be like, you will have great success, you will make new friends, da-da-da. Problem is, we didn't realize when we opened the box of this little stupid thing, it was kind of like, click, press, thing, batteries in there are dead. Doesn't work at all. Thinking of bringing it back, but the hell with it. So we're going to buy new batteries. The batteries are going to cost more than this little gadget thing. But when we get it working, we hope to get it working. I know when I was working at a literary agency on Astor Place, going back 30-something years, and this lovely woman named Val, we had a gift grab bag thing, and she got me a magic 8-ball, which is like the last thing I need in my life, but it was a cute little gift thing, and you shake it, and this triangular, it can't be a triangular cube, this triangular object with writing on it, on the different sides of it, will come up, depending on how you shake it, and show in the window, and it says, life will be great for you, life will be terrible for you, you will have really solid bowel movements for a week, whatever it said, but it was cute, it was fun, you shook it, old magic 8-ball, shake, shake. So this is kind of a more of a modern thing, where with batteries, I guess it magnetically reacts to the heat of your hand. You pass your hand over the crystal ball and some message will come up. I would love to have shown it to you today, but it takes like 3 NiCad batteries that we have to immediately replace. So, people, they just don't make good garbage anymore. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. What else? And of course, a new axolotl, which, as we just showed you, good birthday, good times, good times. And it was also just a nice way to get past the weather that we had a week ago. Holy crap! We moved from. We've been living in New York again for a couple of years, and then we moved to Maryland, and it was kind of neat. For a year and a half, no snow. I mean, a dusting on the rooftop once or twice, but nothing. But not even a quarter of an inch. It's just like, it's here. It's gone, dried up by mid-afternoon, and then, right? Pachum, the storm that you get once every 5 or 10 years. 2 weeks ago, and if you're on the East Coast, you were hit by it too, when we were literally leaving New York, or a quick visit. And New York didn't get it bad. New York dodged the bullet that we didn't, and got about 4 inches or 5 inches, and then 3 days later got 5 inches more, and a cold snap in between. So it was the worst possible kind of snow. It wasn't like the April snow where you get 6 inches of snow. It's like, oh my God. But you shovel it, it's kind of still wet and soft. And then in 2 days it disappears because the sun's out and it's like 58 degrees. Boom. No. This was the kind of snow, and it was a big squall that came up half the country. Massive snowstorm, 25 to 30 degrees, 20 degrees overnight, so nothing melts. Little bit of sunshine the next day, so you have a tiny bit of melting, but then it refreezes immediately, which makes it worse and much more dangerous. And then half a foot of snow on top of that. And if I tell you I was sore for a week, I hadn't had to really shovel in like 2 or 3 years. And suddenly there it was. And I was like, oh, I remember winter.
Well, you used to complain in Colorado when we had the HOA, but they shoveled.
Yeah, now that was a beautiful thing. I never had to worry about anything in our little townhouse in Colorado because, I mean, expensive as it was, they took care of stuff. It turns out, even as expensive as it was, I forgot. Like we have gardeners who come here through much of the year, and they charge like $60, $70 to mow a goddamn lawn. But that's all they'll do. Anything else that you do, you pay through the nose for. Because I was talking about the weather and the winter weather.
Birthday. How did you get?
Because you brought up the HOA.
But from your happy birthday, did you show all your pictures?
Yeah, and I talked about the crystal ball that we'll show next week.
Yeah.
I talked about.
We have the voice changer. We have to.
Oh, I haven't used that. We have a voice changing little microphone app I'm just saying it was kind of the one thing I didn't really appreciate in Colorado when we were paying monthly for an HOA is that they took care of the lawn, right, and the trees and the things like that, which is nice. You pay for everything every minute. This is me working myself up into a froth.
Don't be happy.
All right, I'm being happy.
How many people get all those birthday gifts? And you're going to get Mission Barbecue today, or for dinner. But
no, I might go for the Asian
sushi.
place today.
What is it called? Cafe?
It's the one with the robot.
It's the one that has the
something 68.
Yeah.
Is Izakaya or
yes?
60?
And they also have a whole sushi thing. She said the salmon's really good if you want that.
All right, salmon. Anyway, it's 11 o'clock Eastern time in the Daverhood. What else do we want to? But the other thing I wanted to talk about was that we went from this massive double snowstorm a week and a half ago, and yesterday, everybody's walking around because you don't believe the weather. When you're in week after week after week and it's 30, 40 degrees, and then you look at the weather and oh yeah, tomorrow's going to be close to 70. Your mind kind of clocks it, but it doesn't really remember the spring and summer when it actually was 70, and you need to change all your clothing out because you really should be walking around in shirt sleeves and shorts at that point.
They said the sushi's okay. There are better places to get sushi.
Even better than Izakaya 68? Oh well, whatever. But so we go out and we open the door yesterday because we were going off to Baltimore and open the door and it's like, oh, and even then your brain is like, well, yeah, it's really warm now. It's about noon or whatever time it was. But, by the time it gets later in the day and the sun will go behind the cloud, we're going to be chilly. So we're not going to take the big heavy winter coat. We'll take the lighter sort of winter coat. And meanwhile, while we're out there tromping around Baltimore, it's like all we wanted to be in was like a polo shirt and maybe very light pants. So we were overdressed even for what we're wearing because you don't believe it. Your head is telling you it's January. It's January 26th.
Yes.
On the East Coast, not in Florida, not in Tobago, but you're in the middle of the kind of the East Coast, and Maryland isn't really south, although people think of it because of the Civil War as somewhat southern. And so I was like, yeah, they're telling us it's 68 degrees out here, but is it really? And it was really. And when the sun was shining, it felt like 75. And here Joyce has her denim jacket on. I've got my jacket already rolled up in my bag, but like a long sleeve shirts. And I'm walking around just taking in the sights of going up and down 27th and 28th Street in Baltimore with my baseball cap on, and I'm schwitzing. And I'm like, good God, how was it 25 degrees a week and a half ago? And you couldn't walk anywhere for fear of slipping on ice. It's just, I don't know if that's global warming or just the way sometimes weather is. I think that's a lot closer. It's sometimes just the way weather is. Anywho. All right, let's do, what shall we talk about? Let's get to some of the stuff that we are meant to get to on this episode of Dave's Gone By. We have a Greeley Times coming up, BUNION Watch, Inside Broadway, and our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we go to Tall Timber, Colorado. My hair's all fuzzy. Tall Timber, Colorado. I've written a horrible poem about it. So let's get to Greeley Times. We had to skip it last week because we were running overtime. But oh boy, that means we have even more amazing items to share from you, courtesy of the Greeley Tribune newspaper, a real newspaper out there in northern Colorado, where they get the phone calls that come into the Greeley Police Department. The funniest, most ridiculous requests for police assistance are then gathered by the staff of the Greeley Tribune. In fact, a fella or maybe a woman there named Chris Bolin is doing it now. And so we thank Chris very, very much, and we take the best of those for Greeley Times. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Greeley Times. Check out. Stop it. Greeley times here on Dave's
Ever
Gone By.
since you popped that button, you're so relaxed.
I am relaxed. This is me relaxed. You gonna know me after 28 years? This is.
I don't know you.
Anyway, here's Greeley
If
times.
you don't know me by
So people call the police department saying help, and this is the kind of help they need. A caller. There it is. On 61st Avenue, said a man dropped some bags at a bus stop
Uh-oh.
as he walked by. Per the caller, I love this, per the caller, quote, he didn't miss a stride, dropped him, and kept going.
Maybe he was doing delivery service. Maybe
Yeah.
it was Amazon. He was probably FedEx.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, whoop, but at a bus stop though. Who drops bags like a bus? He's like,
Maybe it was a DoorDash or some kind of food delivery. The weirdest thing I saw in Manhattan was like in the city, they have like almost like a baby carriage Amazon filled with packages. I guess when they go in apartment buildings,
yeah, that makes much more sense than having to park one place and then they go up and like a mail person in their
I think
carts.
I found a better place for you.
Okay, yeah.
It's called Poke Bowl.
Oh, but do they do sushi? Or they just do those bowl things of poke?
No, because it says they get 20% off Saturday and Sunday.
Hello.
I'm gonna see.
Hello. You had me at 20% off. Anyone can have me at 20% off. I'm cheap now.
This post. I'll take a picture.
Yeah. But we have another phone call that came into the police department.
I can't.
All right. Well, we can. We'll put the calls on silent here. A caller on 24th Street. All right. Well, Joyce is trying to figure out where I'll go for lunch today. My all important Asian lunch.
I took a picture of the coupon.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
For an Asian place, yeah.
Yeah, and it says they have.
Where are they?
They have 4.6 out of 326 reviews. That's the highest I've seen.
That's pretty good.
It says Poke Bowl and Sushi Bar.
And Sushi Bar.
Let's see.
I'm in. I'm in.
I want to get most recent, newest.
Now remember, all those reviewers are the ones who lived. But all right, here we go. A caller on
Great food, great location.
A caller on 24th Street said, "Oh my God, honey, what did you just talk about? What did you just mention in terms of the guy who dropped the bags at the bus stop?"
Oh, FedEx or Amazon?
Our next call that came into the police department, a caller on 24th Street said, Amazon delivered a package. This was not said. I mean, literally, Joyce is what do you call yourself? A witch? You call yourself a intuitive empath, kind of natural mystic. So she predicted this. This is even without the crystal ball. You predicted Amazon would be involved in our next phone call. A caller on 24th Street saying Amazon delivered a package to her neighbor's house, and the neighbor opened it by mistake. He gave her all the items, but she wanted to file a report on him for opening it.
I don't understand that. Explain this.
Yeah. In other words, the neighbor got the other neighbor's package.
We got the neighbor's package when we were living with your parents.
Yeah.
And we opened it up because we thought it was a gift, and then we,
And we looked at, well, who the heck? What is this?
Yes.
And then we said, and then we looked at the address.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, this is not for us.
No, and they said happy birthday Ariel or something. We're like, oh, that's the kid across the street.
Yeah.
But
Right. I remember we also got, when we were living in my folks' house, we got a package for across the street of like a ring.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, there was another one where we got this huge box of stuff. This was what we were on in our own house.
Yeah.
And a big package came.
I don't remember.
And it was another, like a completely other person or somebody. Yeah.
I guess out of all those people, you make mistakes.
Yeah. But this neighbor got annoyed because the neighbor who gave the package to her was like, oh, this came for us accidentally.
Did they take something out of it?
No, they gave every item to her, but she got mad that they opened it and wanted to report them to the police. Nice.
Wow.
Nice. Okay. A caller on 9th Street. This reminds us of last night. A caller on 9th Street reported hearing, quote, a loud boom
Oh my God.
and did not know where it came from. Then he checked his pants. No, just kidding. So last night, and we got to sleep late because
I'll find the
yeah.
Okay.
Last night I kind of got to sleep late because I napped in the day and was working and Joyce was watching TV. We go to sleep. It's like 12:30 in the morning, and trying to sleep. And then we hear, or I hear this, even though I'm half deaf, I hear the scary noises. And it's kind of like, did you find it? Because we'll play it. We hear this. No, not that. That.
Yes, that's exactly what we heard.
Now imagine you're trying to get to sleep and you hear this, not knowing if it's something in your house or outside the house or in another room. And we're like, and I'm like, did you hear that? And she's like, hear what? And I'm like, did you hear? And it kept going. It kept going like that. And I'm like, did you hear that? So now we're, and
I thought it was a cat or dog, like cat, but the thing was,
yeah,
I only heard one. Like when I was in Philadelphia, a lot of times Charlie or a cat, he would get into little altercations.
Yeah.
And I know the sound of two cats fighting. It wasn't un perro because perros have a different.
Right.
It was a high pitch.
Right. It wasn't a dog barking.
It was a vixen.
Which means that because we couldn't tell what the hell we heard this sound repeating, this scary, shrieky sound, not knowing. Didn't sound like a cat, didn't sound like a baby being hit or something like that. No. And then we're looking out the window, and finally Joyce, actually, so I didn't see it, but Joyce saw there was a fox.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. You saw a fox.
Beautiful coat. Yeah, that beautiful, like, that foxy color, like that kind of orangey brown. He was gorgeous.
And the tail.
He was big.
Well, no, not he.
Well, I know, but I just saw going by, like, our neighbor's, like, van. I was like, oh, boy, here he goes. And I saw him, then I was like, can you see it? And then by the time you look, but he was like, pretty big. He must have crossed the street, and then they have I don't know what kind, I think they have a terrier or something, but he wasn't out. But maybe they sniffed the terrier. He was going that way, and then he was walking on the sidewalk, and I saw his tushy past that white car going between the van and the car. Oh, here's FedEx. Maybe that's my package.
But you want to go down and check?
Literally, you just talked about it. I think it is. I'm waiting for my pants and a scale from my health program at school.
For gosh sakes, don't bring your pants to the Chinese tailors in Mays Chapel.
Yeah, I don't know if you...
But that was the thing. It turned, and we looked it up, because, at that point, we're awake. When you hear a noise like that, you're awake. And we're running around half naked to the windows trying to see what the hell's going on.
We had late, we're going to bed late. We're like, wow.
So we open, and she looks, and we look it up, and it's a girl. It's a girl fox.
Well, we didn't know.
No, well, how would we know this? But Joyce Googles, and it turns out it's a girl fox telling the boy foxes in the neighborhood, hey, I'm wet and ready.
No,
I need fox
I
cock.
think what she does is she's looking for the calling boys.
Right. She's telling them, first come, first served. It's like, I'm a fox in heat. And plus, I think because the weather changed so rapidly, so suddenly, everything was out. Remember yesterday morning, all the robins were on our back lawn? Because they couldn't, there was snow covered until that moment.
You showed me, and they were covering the lawn, and it was like from Hitchcock film. They were all in the wires, the trees, the squirrels were in the trees. It was something. Yeah.
And birds were pecking the ground to get the worms out.
You looked it up, what was it?
Well, the birds were either finding worms, or if they keep go doop, 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 the worms think it's a thunderstorm, and they start coming up.
That's horrible.
Well, that's what they do. They're birds.
Oh, no.
What?
Oh, God, he's bringing something, they must be getting furniture. He's bringing a huge package, like a furniture thing.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I want to see if I get something. It's a big FedEx truck. It's not the tiny one. Oh, wow, it just got passed by the mobility link.
What an exciting life we lead.
Wow.
We have a mobility truck and a FedEx truck on our block right now.
That FedEx truck looks like it drops off big packages. I can't see. We got to put the rings. I can't see if I got no package.
Yeah. But anyway, that was our last night. That's why I woke up at like 8 today instead of like 6 a.m. Because we had a fox going, rah, rah, rah! Literally. And it was not being, I mean, I'm glad it wasn't being assaulted and it wasn't a horrible scream of pain. This was a fox saying, I'm horny. Do me. Like some, bridge and tunnel fox with good hair. Just take me back behind the barn and fuck me already, Anyway, but this, we talked about the guy hearing a loud boom. We have another caller, a caller on 4th Avenue. Now, again with noise, he reported a neighbor playing loud music. And the guy said, quote, he told the dispatcher, because I'm like that too. If I hear like loud thumping music, so he says to the police dispatcher,
he threatens something?
If I have to go over there,
oh no,
you're going to get a call about it anyway, and I don't want to go back to prison.
Oh my God, David!
Yeah.
That is scary. But you know what? At least that was like that was a person who broke the cycle between their prior behavior and action.
Stop me before I kill again.
Yeah, wow. Oh, Lord have mercy. That's scary.
Because they're playing my favorite band, Putrid Defecation. Now, and by the way, that is apparently the name of a real death metal band called Putrid Defecation. I've been listening nonstop to them for months now. I'm not kidding. I'm kidding about the last part. I'm not kidding about the Putrid Defecation.
There's so much in the world that should not be. Should not be real.
Hey, let's go elsewhere. Let's find a humorous thing that happened in the world that isn't from northern Colorado. Because I also find these.
Yeah, you go elsewhere.
So here we go. Speaking of putrid defecation, we go to Orlando, Florida, from this story from the Associated Press.
Yeah.
A customer has filed a negligence lawsuit against Dunkin' Donuts. Or I guess they call it Dunkin' now, but against Dunkin' Donuts, claiming he was injured by an exploding toilet.
How does that happen? How does a toilet explode?
I don't know.
You mean exploding?
Apparently it exploded. It went,
That could hurt you.
Well, yeah. Paul Kerouac, I don't know if there's any relation.
I don't think so.
And yes, there are puns at the end of this. Paul Kerouac seeks more than $100,000 in his lawsuit filed on last Wednesday. He claims he suffered severe and long-term injuries following the explosion of a toilet in the men's room of a Dunkin' location in Winter Park, Florida, back in January of 2022. So he's been suffering with this for a while.
Oh, that's sad.
After the explosion...
What happened, though? I'd like to know how it happened.
I don't know.
Because that is a factory defect.
I guess we have gas buildup or the pipes. I don't know.
But exploding is pretty different than like breaking or.
Right. Yeah. It isn't like you sat down at one crack and boom.
What he needs? He needs that law.
The law truck. Oh, we're going to talk about that. All right. But let me get through that and then we'll mention that.
Take a picture of that? Oh no, we found it on the web.
Oh yeah. We should take a picture. I want to take a picture standing near it, waving.
Yeah.
After the explosion, left Kerouac covered in human feces.
Oh.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't read that right. Left Kerouac covered in human feces, urine, and debris.
Oh, wow. That's messy.
That's a happy day.
That's Oxford, comma.
He walked out of the men's room seeking help. He approached workers and the store's manager.
Yeah.
An employee told him they were, quote, they were aware of the problem with the toilet. How can you be aware of a toilet that exploded? It has exploded or didn't.
But I don't think it exploded. I think when he flushed, it just shot.
Maybe it went.
I don't think it was the ceramics. I think when they, maybe people don't flush in there, so they wanted a powerful flusher.
And it went.
It seems like they
a gusher.
Well, they installed it backwards, so instead of taking everything downstairs, it went upstairs. That would be my thing.
But he was injured too, not just covered in yuck.
How did he know?
How do you know what?
He was injured.
How does anybody know they're injured? Yeah. He approached workers, the store's managers. There had been apparently previous incidents.
Like what?
Oh my God. Unfortunately, the lawsuit doesn't go into further detail about the actual blow-up. It did say Kerouac suffered, quote, bodily injury and has required mental health care and counseling since the incident.
You know why? Because you can't avoid using the potty. He has to go again, and probably every time he goes, he probably has a fear that...
Yeah. It's my potty, and I'll... What? Oh, well, yeah. Well, he probably has post-traumatic schmutz syndrome. He's afraid to he stands to he approaches a toilet from here,
Yeah, but that's real.
Or worse, he doesn't. He's just kind of
David,
could somebody else come and flush this for me? I'm dealing with it,
He gets the service puppy.
So, all my thing is that although this guy's name was Paul Kerouac, if it had been Jack Kerouac, he might have written such books as On the Commode, The Subterraneans, the Dharma Underbums, Big Slurry, and of course, Defecation Angels. Thank you very much. Yeah, I read tons of Kerouac when I was in my teens, just so I could make those puns about this particular incident. Anyway, we're doing Greeley Times here on Dave's Gone By, doing some phone calls that came into the Greeley and Weld County Police Department. And we've got a couple more, and then we'll get on to the rest of the show because we still have, oh my God, Friends of the Daverhood. We've got Inside Broadway coming up. We've got BUNION Watch. We've got our Colorado Limerick, and it's almost 11:30 already. Oh my goodness, so much stuff to do. But here we have another, well, actually, Joyce has left the room for a moment. So let me take this moment to remind you that if you want to know more about this show, and if you want to find our archives, and listen to last week's show, or the show from a month ago, or a year ago, or 10 years ago, or 21 years ago that we began this program on terrestrial radio, remember that you can go to davesgoneby.com, davesgoneby.com, davesgoneby.com. We have photos, we have all the information about past programs, as well as links to the audio and video of virtually every program we have ever done, plus a separate archive of every interview that we have ever done. That was part of the show, and then we extracted it if you just wanted to hear the interviews. So it's a really handy and useful guide to everything we've done on this program all these years. We also have our archives at archive.org, which is a not-for-profit website collecting art and literature and entertainment from the past hundreds of years, whatever they can get their hands on, this kind of repository where you can read books, all of it public domain, or listen to old radio shows and classic old Kinescope TV episodes. And we have a channel there devoted to Dave's Gone By episodes, our audios and videos, right there on archive.org. Check it out. And we also have our...
I had to go pick up a package, honey.
Oh, did your parents come?
No, it's a package from it's a health program at work at the health plan.
Fine. And then at castbox.org, castbox.fm has the audio archives only. So even though we've been on video now for 5-6 years, 7 years maybe, they just take the audio as a podcast. So if you want to listen to the show in the car, at the gym, anywhere else, just go to castbox.fm. It downloads as a podcast as opposed to going to the site and watching the show or listening that way. Anyway, those are the three main places our stuff is, but we also have a YouTube channel where we put as much of our stuff as we can that doesn't get blocked by ASCAP BMI nonsense.
Is it copyright?
And so lots of different ways to keep up with what we've done on Dave's Gone By. Anyway, let's get back to Greeley Times. We have a call. I think we had a call. I heard the phone ring. They hung up and then they called back. Thank you for calling back, caller. Caller on 71st Avenue wanted to speak with someone who knows about meteorites because he was hit in the head with one several weeks ago.
Wow.
Have you ever met anybody who's been hit in the head with a meteorite?
No.
No. But he has. He's one of those very lucky special few, probably living in a farm area where they had UFO landings and such. Classic stuff. Anyway, let's do one more. A caller on 8th Avenue wanted to talk to someone. Yeah, I'll talk to him. Okay. He wanted to talk to someone because he was being kicked out of McDonald's for unknown, quote unquote, unknown reasons.
I'm sure they know.
Yeah. I'm guessing he just didn't want fries with that.
Aww.
And that's always problematic. But I do love the idea, again, the weird serendipities that happen. We're calling this episode Mickey D's because of Evelyn McDonnell, our guest in the Daverhood.
Well,
and here we have a thing completely by accident about McDonald's.
About that actual franchise. Do you want your tea, honey?
No, I'm good. I'm good so far. And as a matter of fact, if you want to start, because after this I'm going to do Inside Broadway, so if you want to go opening your thing and looking at your stuff, because that'll take about 10 minutes. Oh, that was it? That's all you had to look at? Oh, is it worth it? I mean, what is it?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, okay, fine. Anyway, one more Greeley time. Here we go. A caller at the Greeley Mall said that a man was walking around, quote, dancing in circles. No, that's the fox.
That was the fox.
A man was walking around and, quote, dancing in circles really fast, unquote.
Wow.
I mean, somehow they didn't mention that his foot was on fire, but no. Or he was dancing like S'more our beloved S'more from Smiling Friend. You'll know what I'm talking about there, folks, but it's a cartoon character who does a very special dance. A caller on 35th Avenue Court reported an FBI agent doing a knock-and-talk. I like that. A knock-and-talk in an unmarked vehicle and plain clothes.
I mean, I don't think that's real.
No?
An FBI agent do it. If they're plain clothes, how come he told him he's a...
How would he know he's an FBI agent?
That seems sketchy.
Doing a knock and talk. It's at least it beats when the CIA does ding dong ditch. Yes, that's annoying. Yes. They ring the bell. You can tell they're from the Central Intelligence Agency.
But you gotta be careful because so many people there's so many of these scams where people say they do dating things and they say, oh, I'm a FBI person, or I'm a soldier. Yeah. I don't think that's strange.
Well, one time I was visited by, I guess it was the FBI.
Really?
FBI, this is true. And I'm not going to say who this was for.
For real?
For real. I was visiting at work.
They were the FBI though?
Well, they identified themselves. They were either not CIA. They're pretty much FBI.
Yeah.
Because a friend of mine had applied for a government job involving secrecy and national security and secrets and things like that.
Oh, wow. And
had listed me as like a reference kind of thing. And they came for 10 minutes and just asked me questions about my friend. I think they didn't just show up. I think they arranged or something like that. And I said, yeah, I can meet, maybe at work, whatever. And they came in, they're very polite and whatever. And it was like anything else. They were asking for almost a credit reference, like a reference for my friend.
Oh, wow.
And he got the job. It was no problem.
Oh, nice.
And did this for many, many years. But you work for places like Lockheed Grumman or
did they tell you not to tell anybody that they were there, or do they?
You don't have it's not a secret. They're there on a thing of, just checking out somebody to make sure they're cool.
Haven't they heard of this thing called email or Zoom?
This is going back. This is going back.
Did they fingerprint you or touch you in any way?
I begged them. But they did not. No, they didn't. No, they were fine. I knew they were coming. If I known they were coming, I would have baked a cake with a file in it. Okay. But that's part of, who knew? We saw like a documentary, but the FBI has hundreds and hundreds of people working for them. And basically they're just getting information. They're gathering. Sometimes they're listening in, I guess, on terrorist chatter. The other times they're just kind of gathering info on everybody, that whatever 280 million people live in this country.
Maybe that's like the I don't know, low-level FBI who do the reference checking.
Yeah, I would do it, exactly. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure, at one of the universities I teach at, they had a table last semester around job fair time. Come and work for Uncle Sam, Why? Because it's a huge organization. It's an enormous governmental thing. And they need people.
You could do it. My mom would be the worst because both she and I can't keep secrets about presents.
Yeah, no.
So they would be like, I'd be like, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I would keep big secrets. It's just little secrets. Like presents I can't keep secrets.
And you're good at getting things out of people and talking with people.
I could interrogate people well,
Me, with my jokes, is that we need a torturer.
Yeah, you'd be off day one.
We've got the head of Hamas here. Can you just tell him some puns?
You would be off day one, David. You would not be.
No, I would be like, let's bring him in.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you just off-air mouth who the person is to me?
Oh, the most obvious one who was on the program just a week or two ago.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I like it.
So yeah, no. So he's always been rather cryptic about where he works and what he does. He worked for things involving national security and patents and stuff like that.
Is he like the guy who gave all the flash drive to Russia?
He's the opposite of that.
Okay.
That's why the FBI interviewed me to make sure that he wasn't Snowden.
Yes. Does he take things home from work like confidential files?
Yeah. Well, no, not Post-it notes.
Once he took a pencil.
Right, but the pencil had a microphone in it. Oh my God! And you know what? Let's table it because we're on a high right now. So let's table Greeley Times for this Saturday, January 27th, 2024.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool.
No, he was not.
I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi!
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Thank you, Groucho. Thank you so much. So, yes, it is really like the last Saturday in January already of the year 2024. We're doing the 928th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the Stream. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. That is my marvelous wife, Joyce. And we still have BUNION Watch. We still have Colorado Limerick.
Did you want to read the dictionary today or no?
I was going to, but we'll go past noon if I do the dictionary. Because I didn't get a chance last week to really do Inside Broadway.
Oh, you need to do it because you saw shows in there. Are they still, Barry Manilow's running still?
Barry Manilow is running until February 4th.
Oh, so you need to do it.
Prayer for the French Republic, I believe, is running until mid-March.
Oh, so okay, people can still see those.
So that's why I want to tell, and the fact that, I'm a critic, I should be reviewing stuff still, even though these were the first shows that I've seen in any kind of a theater in almost a year and a half. When Joyce and I were living in New York, I was running to the theater still 3-4 times a week, depending on the time of year, seeing everything on Broadway, a lot of off-Broadway stuff too. Now that I'm in Maryland, 200 miles away, is like, been too busy, just can't deal with getting back and forth to New York. So, wanted to see the folks, wanted to see our mutual family and visit Manhattan before the semester started up again. So Joyce and I literally ran in for a fast weekend over the holiday weekend to do it. And I grabbed 2 shows on a Sunday. And the ones that I saw, I will talk about, as well as give you some news about the Great White Way. That's why we call it Inside Broadway.
Inside Broadway, a look at theater in New York, Colorado, and beyond, brought to you by TotalTheater.com and Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway.
So Inside Broadway we go. Let me give you some Broadway news. I used to do this years ago on the show. It's been a while, where we had an Inside Broadway segment every week where I gave you some news of the Rialto as well as would review shows on and off Broadway. Now, I'm kind of out of the loop on a lot of this. This will be the first time in a long time I've done this. Anyway, opening tomorrow on Broadway is a new musical by Adam Gettle and Craig Lucas. It's called Days of Wine and Roses. And yes, it is based on that Jack Lemmon, Lee Remick film about these two mutually toxic alcoholics married and living together. And Michael Greif is directing this new musical based on that subject matter. It ran off-Broadway at the Atlantic Theater just a couple of months ago and got reviews strong enough that they are now moving it to Broadway. It's going to be playing at Studio 54 and for those of you who are not Broadway people, Studio 54 is not the dance club like it was in the Steve Rebell 1970s. It's been sort of owned by the Roundabout for about 20 years now, and it is a theater. So it is a Broadway theater that will be hosting Days of Wine and Roses, kind of the most ironic show to put in a place that was the ultimate New York home for booze and cocaine 40 years ago, now that I think about it. Anyway, the off-Broadway stars Kelly O'Hara and Brian Darcy James are repeating their roles in Days of Wine and Roses starting tomorrow, debuting tomorrow night on Broadway. And hey, speaking of Broadway stuff, our mutual friends, and a couple of our friends of the Daverhood here, Charlie Gross, Leslie Hoban Blake, you certainly know her well. These are the people who do a show called Two on the Aisle on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, public access TV in Manhattan, and also the episodes are on YouTube. They invited me last week to be a guest on the show to just talk about what I thought would be exciting in the spring season that is basically starting now on Broadway. They invite me and a few other people who have been on their show over the past few years. So I was on there with Diane Snyder and Deirdre Donovan, Charlie and Leslie, all of us giving our thoughts of like, hey, if I were in New York, what shows opening this spring would I be the most excited about? Well, we taped it about a week and a half ago. It should be up on YouTube by now, this episode with me on it of Two on the Aisle. So I thank them very, very much for including me. I actually have the video of it that I might, if we have extra time in an upcoming episode of this show, I'll probably show that segment because it's kind of fun. But anyway, Two on the Aisle, look for it under Charlie Gross on YouTube because there's a bunch of different Two on the Aisles. Ooh, was that a phone call or
no,
is
that was you looking on the web.
That's our web search noise.
The internet.
And let's see, we did lose, I talked about this last week, but on January 16th, we did lose Peter Schickley, the PDQ Bach guy who was a guest on this program, back in 2011, Grammy Award winner, and again, a person who did really serious classical music, but will forever be known for mocking classical music through PDQ Bach. Did you know, though, that he contributed to a Broadway show? Of all things, it was O Calcutta, because he and a rock group, when it first opened in like 1969, he was in this rock group that was on stage. It was called the Open Window. And they would kind of play on and off the acts and the scenes and the nudity and everything else, and be playing for the show. Back when O Calcutta wasn't like this weird, strange, semi-funny tourist trap. When it first opened, it was this event. It was a cultural watershed of like talking about sex with nudity in a comical and erotic way on Broadway. That was a thing to do back in the aptly numbered 69. And so he was part of that. John Lennon contributed something. Like a couple of famous playwrights did as well. So, didn't realize that Peter Schickley, who passed away at the age of 88 a week and a half ago, I had forgotten that he contributed to O Calcutta. And farewell to Joyce Randolph. 99-year-old Joyce Randolph passed away last Saturday. Born Joyce Sorolla in Detroit, Michigan. She was working in retail when a touring company of a show called Stage Door came through. She auditioned, she got the part, her life was changed. Now, her only credit, apparently, that's listed on Internet Broadway database she was in a show in 1950 called Ladies' Night in a Turkish Bath. And it was not really a play. It was, speaking of naughty entertainments, it was at the Selwyn Theater. It was an hour long, and it played 5 times a day as entertainment before they would show a movie at the Selwyn Theater. So they probably played at like noon, and then at 3 and 6 and whatever it was before the movie started. So she was in that. And of course, if you know Joyce Randolph, you know her from what show, babe?
I forget the name.
With Jackie Gleason and Art Carney.
The Honeymooners.
The Honeymooners, of course. But the problem with that, not the problem, she'll be forever remembered for it, but she also got typecast from it and couldn't get any really great TV roles because everybody thought of her from The Honeymooners. So she made some guest appearances on TV. She did a lot of summer stock. Her husband had passed away back in 1997, but her passing was announced by their kid, Randy Charles. When she died last Saturday, she made it all the way up to 99 years old. So farewell to Joyce Randolph. Well, we're here doing Inside Broadway on Dave's Gone By. Also time for reviews, because when I was in Manhattan a week or so ago, I went to see 2 shows. Both of them, and it wasn't even intentional this way, it just worked out this way. Both of them with very specifically Jewish-related themes, and themes related to anti-Semitism and Jewish violence, or anti-Jewish violence. First one is the drama Prayer for the French Republic, which is a Joshua Harmon piece that Manhattan Theater Club has brought back, because it was done a couple of years ago, got really great reviews, and now they brought it to Broadway at their Samuel J. Friedman Theater, and the show runs significantly over 3 hours, but it doesn't feel like it. It really, really goes. It's a family domestic drama set in Paris, and it's all about this Jewish, very culturally kind of Jewish family, not even religious per se family, but their son, he, for various reasons, both connecting to his culture and also because he met a girl he was trying to impress, has gone more Jewy. Started going to synagogue on Fridays and started wearing a yarmulke all the time. Well, this is takes place a few years back in France when Marie Le Pen was running for prime minister. And she was pretty far right and not so vaguely right-wing and anti-Semitic. And everybody would say, well, she can't win. There's no way Marie Le Pen will win. And they keep saying that throughout the play. And she didn't. History tells us she got a decent percentage of the vote, but she did not win. But the idea of France taking a sharp right-wing turn and an anti-immigrant and an anti-Semitic turn was really happening. So not ignition point, but the flashpoint for the play is when the son comes home and he's been beaten up because he's been wearing the yarmulke. He's obviously Jewish, and they just set upon him and bash him in the head. And the father's like, I don't feel safe in France anymore. France has been this great home. It's been this wonderful place for us, this free play, one lovely place to live, but it's time to move. And the wife is like, well, wait, where the hell do you want to move? And he says, I want the place that's safe for Jews. I want to move to Israel. And of course, her argument is, of all the places in the world that a Jew is going to sometimes feel unsafe, it's going to be Israel. And understand that Prayer for the French Republic was written several years ago, like 3, 4, 5 years ago. This has nothing to do with October 7th. Nothing to do with the current war. This was simply written about when countries were taking a right-wing Trumpian sort of turn, although Trump was a great friend of Israel, and that Jews were still, anti-Semitism was still strongly on the rise in all these so-called civilized Western developed countries. So we get caught up in this situation, the basic thing of like, where are Jews ever safe? And I'm sitting there through this play, also where they bring in a cousin who's visiting Paris for the summer, And she's like this American girl. She's been to college, and she's all left-wing, and she's all like pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel. So she comes into this dynamic of Jews who are feeling unsafe and who realize, hey, if we lose Israel as a safety valve, we have lost everything, and we have nowhere to go ever. So I'm saying getting involved in these debates and liking the fact, and I mentioned this last week when I was talking about the show with Leslie Blake and David Sheward, that it was nice that the show showed kind of, quote unquote, both sides of the picture of this, but, it sided essentially with the Jews who were saying Israel must be protected. None of this river to the sea shit. Israel is the only place that we have, because you never know what is going to happen. You could not tell. And the thing that made me churn a little bit in my stomach was just the fact that Rabbi Saul in Shalom Dammit and Evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon was saying these same things in a comic way a decade ago, warning people, telling them. Then there's a line in the play of like, imagine a Jew in Berlin in 1910, and somebody asking him, well, what do you think Berlin is going to be like? What do you think Germany is going to be like in 15 years? And the same, right? You have no fucking idea. And Jews never have an idea of what Spain, what France, what Italy, what Poland, what Russia, what Portugal. There's a marvelous moment in the play, in a prayer for the French Republic, where he says, okay, you don't want to go to Israel? Let's find a country that has always been and will always be safe for Jews to run to when we're threatened. Let's just go down the list alphabetically. And the guy's like, okay, let's start. Okay, I'll start. Afghanistan. What? Well, no. Algeria. No, Muslim, not going to, and he runs down a couple of countries, and he's like, this is why Israel. This is why Israel. Because it's the one place that was meant for us to have a homeland, to be safe. And the play also shows that Paris was almost not magically, but ridiculously luckily for the grandparents of these people, or maybe their great-grandparents, during World War II, neighbors kind of sheltered them and protected them. So they managed to stay in their little apartment in 1942, 43, 44, live out the war safely. But they weren't marched off to a concentration camp. They weren't sent to anywhere out of France. They managed to stay okay. And they had no idea where the children were, or their son. Their son ended up coming home, although one of his daughters was murdered. So there's this back and forth between life in Paris in 1940s for the family, and then life currently now. And always the sense of, yeah, it's fine, you're safe, it's good. And then at any moment, the worm can turn. I strongly recommend Prayer for the French Republic. I'm giving it like 3.5 stars. It gets a little wordy here and there. David Sheward and Leslie mentioned that too. Even though it never feels long, there are times when you figure, it's going to be trimmed a little bit. And it's got something to rile up everyone, whichever side of the current argument and the current horror that you're on. Obviously, I'm pretty far right-wing on this compared to a lot of people. But it's just nice to have a play that explains why Jews feel betrayed by people who don't understand the importance of Israel, right? This idea that, it's just another country, right? It's just, is Netanyahu's an asshole, Netanyahu's corrupt, he's this, and Israel shouldn't do this, and they're colonialists, which is bullshit. It's nice to have a play on Broadway, which is as left-wing as you can get, that says, hey, stop a moment and please understand what this country means and who it's actually for. And I certainly like that. And I liked it as a piece of theater as well. Now, something else that would remind us of what that's all about is the musical. The Broadway, and honestly, I never thought I'd be saying these words, the Broadway musical Harmony by Barry Manilow doing the score. Harmony, I swear to you, when I was working as the managing editor of Playbill.com. Going back almost 25 years now, we were writing about harmony. We were saying, oh, Barry Manilow's got a musical. He wants to bring it to Broadway. It's a serious musical. It's not like, Copacabana. He's serious about this. And he wants to get it up somewhere. He's trying to raise the money to bring it directly to Broadway. And we wrote about it, and it never happened. And years would pass. And he was still, oh, Barry Manilow's still working on harmony, isn't he? And then news stories would happen, and they disappear. And then there'd be a workshop somewhere, and then it'd disappear. Until, I guess, after the pandemic, or maybe just before, no, after the pandemic, he finally got up a serious production of harmony. I believe it was done at the Angel Orange Sound's synagogue space downtown. He got his dream, right? Because shows come and go. There were shows that opened in the 1990s that have had revivals by now, or 2 revivals by now. This is a show that never really got its chance, and finally got one last year or 2 years ago, and now gets its Broadway chance. However, it is going to be closing at the Barrymore Theater February 4th, after a run of, I guess, about 2 months. I wanted to love it. I'm not the biggest Barry Manilow. It's not my kind of music per se. Everybody knows the songs that he wrote that make the whole world sing, that you've heard on the radio, but did not have high hopes going in, not high expectations, but wanted to love it. Because the story is interesting. It's about the Comedian Harmonists, which is a group of German singers, a cappella singers, and also who were doing comedy while singing. And they came to the fore in the late 1920s and became really, really famous. They were apparently really, really funny, really great singers, had great personalities. They were a Beatles-esque group of their time, right, in Germany there and Austria. So, cool story sad story in the fact that they came to the fore just as Hitler was rising into power. And they were protected for a certain period of time because they were so famous, because they were international ambassadors of all the good things about Germany. They could go and come and go. And even though a couple of their members were Jewish, the Nazis essentially left them alone, even as they were stripping Jews of their citizenship, stripping Jews of their rights, of their ability to own businesses, to do anything, curfews, ghettos. The harmonists were, okay. They had a special kind of status for a while. And the show goes into this. And amazingly enough, there was already a Broadway show about the Comedian Harmonists. It was more of a lecture with music kind of thing that they did called Band in Berlin. Maybe 25 years ago now. That told their story and actually did the a cappella songs that they were singing when they were a group. They weren't the actual members. They were all basically gone. But the folks playing the Comedian Harmonists sang their original songs, did some of their bits, and also told the sad story of how the band rose and invariably had to fall. But it was such a boring show. Wanted to love that one too. It was just like, okay, their songs aren't that interesting to a 1990-something audience, and make this dramatic, not just more of a lecture. So here's a musical that comes along and tries to make that story dramatic. Unfortunately, they make it overdramatic. They tell, first of all, the getting the band together takes 40 minutes. And the first opening number of harmony, trying to drill in the harmony, we sing in harmony, it's all harmony, we got harmony. Over and over again, because Barry Manilow comes from, even though he's doing theater music, he comes from the pop world where choruses repeat. That's part of the thing. We get to know the chorus, we sing along, we expect the repetition. So he loads that into a couple of the songs here, and it's problematic because they just go on and you hear the same phrases and the same words over and over again. So the opening harmony number, which is catchy, which is nice. If you get the new CD that's out, the original cast CD, the opening number is only 4 minutes long on it. On stage, as they're trying, well, this person's joining the group and that person's joining the group, which should be interesting, but it just goes on and on. Literally, something that should be telescoped into about 15, 20 minutes, it takes about 40 by the time they finally get the band together. And then the story kind of kicks in, and it's pretty easy to be dramatic and to be scary when Nazis are involved. You bring in, you have the band, they're doing what they're doing, they're traveling, they're touring, they're getting good, and then you bring in the bad guys, and the bad guys are always, oh, what's the next shoe going to drop? That's going to be naturally dramatic. But what happens in the second act is they just overdo everything. There's a love story, a love triangle there that I didn't even know was going on. I knew there was a guy married to another girl, but I realized that another guy loved her. And suddenly at the end, one fellow's apologizing to the other. Where did that even come from? And then there's another character who is quite interesting, who's played by Julie Benko, who made her name as the understudy for Beanie Feldstein when she was in and out of Funny Girl 2 or 3 years ago. And she was good, right? And so now she's getting her chance to really shine in a role for her. And she's this very out there left-wing communist person that is also enduring what's going on in Germany. Because, of course, in the 1920s and the early 30s, it was just a battle of whether the Democrats would take power, the Nazis, the communists, who would take power. So everybody was out there marching and screaming, and nobody had any money. So she's out there with her signs, and it gets tougher and tougher for her to do what she does because the Nazis are taking power and turning into violent thugs. So she's almost more interesting than the group dynamic of what happens to the comedian harmonists. And by the end of it, you do have a narrator. You've got this guy who's telling the story of everything, this framing device narrator who's part of the group, played by Chip Zien. Now, we all love Chip Zien. Chip Zien was in Falsettos. His voice is instantly recognizable. He was in Into the Woods, man. The baker in Into the Woods. So we love Chip Zien. And he's lovable. And he plays a rabbi character, and who's our narrator, and he plays these other characters. But by the middle of the second act, he is crawling up the scenery, chewing the scenery. He is a big, this should tell you one of the problems. He's got a song called Threnody. If you name a song Threnody, you're being a little too over-serious, and it's just pure, like, Sturm und Drang Angst, where he's fetching so much and crying so much that he doesn't allow the audience to do it for him. There's that thing that they teach you when you first start to act, especially for film and TV, but even for theater, is that you don't give 110%. You give the camera 10%, and you let the audience feel the other 90. If you're crying, you don't sob. You let like one little tear go, because it's the audience that's going to start crying. But Zion is just like, oh, I'll be like, oh, why did I do it? Why did I? And it's way over the top and way too much. And it pulls us out. And instead of feeling for him, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's unfortunate what happened to the harmonists. And one of the plot points in the second act, and this is true, is that they were on a train with Adolf Hitler on it. And one had the opportunity to kill Hitler and didn't take it, and has felt that guilt and shame and cowardice all these years later. And so that's the thing, and that's a song-worthy thing, but not the song, not the musical, not feeling it. So Harmony is a very watchable show. It is mostly enjoyable when it isn't kind of taking these sort of detours. And the cast is very good, and they sing very well together, but I just cannot recommend. I gave it 3 stars. I even give it maybe 2 3/4, because it's not like it doesn't work. It just doesn't fully grab you. It doesn't fully. Some of the songs are catchy. There's a couple of nice ballads in it. Am I fetching? I'm a critic. This is what I do. So maybe 3 stars for Harmony. You're not going to have a rotten or boring time if you go see it at the Barrymore Theater now through February 4th. I'm just saying, much as I wanted this to be, and it's better than Band in Berlin, that's for sure. But there were times when this thing was going overboard that I was like, I kind of miss Band in Berlin, where they're just telling the story and then doing one of the comedian harmonists' actual songs. Would have been nice to have a balance.
Do you think, David, that,
Yeah.
And listening to what you're saying, do you think that because he wrote it over so many years, it was not contemporary? Because you're saying a lot of the...
Oh.
Because if he was writing it for like 20 years, do you think that it lost the...
No, because the Broadway idiom is still broad. I mean, it's not. No, I don't think that's the issue at all. And I think he really makes an effort, as a person writing for Broadway must, to write Broadway. I think I'm forgetting the guy's name. I think it might be Bruce Sussman, who did the book. So Manilow did the score, the lyrics and the music, the compositions, but Sussman wrote the book, and at times he does a very good job. He's a good lyricist, and he is trying to write Broadway songs that move the story along, that give you character. It's not like he's shoehorning jukebox musical numbers into the show. He's not doing that. He's making a serious effort.
The first performance was October 19th, 1997.
Yes, where was it done? Where was that?
I don't know, honey.
26 years ago. In fact, I was in my second year at Playbill when they did the first performance of Harmony. Probably in Florida.
How would I...
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna hand it to me, or just read, or tell me.
Let's see lyrics. Oh, was it the Mandel of Ice Theater in San Diego?
San Diego. Oh, wow.
It was done 2013 Atlanta, 14 LA, 2022 off Broadway, and 23 Broadway.
I mean, it takes a long time for a musical to wend its way through the regionals, through the tryouts, but it doesn't take 27 years. This one did. So congratulations. And there were a lot of people who liked the musical.
Book and lyrics by Sussman.
Bruce, is it Bruce Sussman?
Yes.
Bruce Sussman he wrote the lyrics.
It says book and lyrics. This is Wikipedia. I don't know if that's real.
Oh, so Manilow must have just written the
tunes. And it says the entire production received mixed reviews and was 3 hours in length.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it was like 2:45.
But they say was. Oh, that's San Diego. They're talking about San Diego.
Yeah. No, they cut it. They've shaped it.
The off-Broadway one was delayed. It says Warren Carlyle directed and did choreography for that one.
Yeah. Lighting.
And then the Broadway one, it says Warren Carlyle will direct and choreograph again. Cornfield, Telsey, Bell, Peters, Owen, Roman, Bogus, and Zine reprised their roles.
Right.
While Judy Benko as Ruth. Wow.
Yeah.
It says the production is scheduled to play its final performance on February 4th.
Yeah.
It was not able to recoup the $15 million for which it was capitalized.
Yeah. Wow. But I don't think Manilow has a lot of money in it. It never puts her own money in the show. So Manilow, who could probably cover the cost, he's not going to be losing a whole bunch of money. And it could tour the Jewish
awards. Off-Broadway League, it won Drama Desk Awards. It was nominated for a bunch of stuff.
It's not
Bruce
bad.
Sussman was nominated.
For what? For lyrics?
Yeah.
The lyrics are not bad.
Outstanding book of a musical here.
Book needs work, but the lyrics are pretty good. And the music, some of it is very enjoyable and fun. Here's from Wikipedia the how the show has done. This is back when it was off Broadway, though.
The awards, honey.
Yeah, because the Broadway is going to be different. It's the Broadway Awards we won't know until later in the year. The Tonys, the Drama Desk, the Outer Critics Circle. This is for when it ran off Broadway back in, what did you say, 2021?
I think 22, was it?
22, I'm sorry. Yeah, it played at Museum of Jewish Heritage, opened in 2020, and it was supposed to. And then we know what happened in 2020. And it finally opened in 2022. So, yeah, it's, again, I can't really recommend it, but I don't say don't see it.
Don't you think it's amazing it came to fruition?
I'm happy for Baron Manilow.
Most people don't have that kind of stamina. I mean, that's 27. How many years? 27?
Yeah. And this is not a vanity project. This is not like.
But that's a long time.
It's crazy. And I'm absolutely proud of, in a way, Manilow. I mean, granted, if he wasn't Barry Manilow, I don't know necessarily that he
You know
would
what
have
helped him?
had the people. Yes,
That's what
Barry
he-
Manilow
That's
had
what he needed. Maybe he has the other sock.
the sock
David,
of wonder.
maybe he has the other sock.
That could be. I'm wondering. I was always hoping Sondheim would have the other sock, but it might be Barry. It might be Barry.
Don't step on the chicken.
Well, that's how many people have said that? We do have a rubber chicken here. It's a little bit afternoon Eastern time as we finish up inside Broadway. Oh no! Don't tell me Ain't Broadway Grand is... Oh, here, maybe this one. Yes.
It's the famous gay white way,
Wiggle.
where the night is bright as day. Ain't Broadway grand.
Doodaloo, doodaloo.
It's not just a thoroughfare, it's a tingle in the air.
Woo-hoo.
Ain't Broadway
Chugga, chugga,
grand.
chugga, chugga, chugga.
It's excitement, it's romance,
That's right.
it's all fun and song and dance. This wonderland, you can be a millionaire quicker here than anywhere. Ain't Broadway grand.
Cool. I like that show. There was a show called Ain't Broadway Grand about 30 years
It's a
ago.
great song.
It's good. These are flops. That's from a flop.
That's well, but it reminded me of that. What's the show we used to take Mom to, where they make fun of, they parody all the
Oh.
shows.
Forbidden Broadway.
Yeah, like it. I thought it was from it. It seems like it should be from a show like that.
Because it's a clever, and it's also that show never got recorded. So that was a work
wow.
tape of just
Oh,
them at the
wow.
piano because it had a band in an
Yeah,
orchestra.
after.
Yeah. Anyway, we are here in the Daverhood doing the 928th episode of Dave's Gone By. We have a couple more things to do, so don't go away yet. I know we've been on for more than 3 hours. It's one of those shows, ladies and gentlemen.
I can tell you, I used to have the time. Now it doesn't have it anymore.
Oh. I'm lowering the table for a reason, my friends. Because
Oh, you've been on for 3 hours, 6 minutes, and 34 seconds.
wow. Ladies and gentlemen, since we've just been speaking about the Sock of Wonder, it's time. Cool pants, huh?
Would you have your scale?
I think you have the curly thing.
No, the happy, sad, unhappy.
Oh, I do. Oh, I
You know,
do.
you didn't do a rating.
It got covered by some other
Because it is
papers.
your first week, so it's time to do a rating.
Or do we want to do this scale?
Oh. No, I think for your bunion you have to do
I gotta
This
go find
scale.
it. Yeah, gotta find
You
it.
could
Let me-
just talk it through.
So here's the deal. Yesterday in particular, we did a lot of walking around in here we are, in my my old sneakers.
Oh, well, they were.
Because I didn't want to wear my
Which
nice ones
kind
because
did
of
you wear,
wet.
the leather ones or the?
No, I didn't clomp around in my boots. But by the way, there's a reason you're only seeing my nose and chin for the moment. And not to mention the open button of my shirt. So we do something on this show. We have been doing it for a while now, called Bunion
Are you
Watch.
wearing your glasses because you're 60?
Oh,
I don't know if you wanted to wear them because you're 60 and it's like you knew.
no, I was reading the notes from my I am. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for... come on. It's time for... Bunion Watch!
She's Bunyan, she really is a fun one, she's Bunyan. Listen, doctor, to my plea, it's time for Bunyan next to me.
Bunions, they're a place.
Oh, I think she is, yes.
Feet of mine have got to go, please get these bunions off my toes. My elbow boy would always have my elbow boy. Bunions, painful, bunions, painful.
So I was worried that my bunions would be painful after yesterday because I was clomping around Baltimore. There were puddles in places and just kind of going up hills and down hills and up hills and down hills. And I wasn't in my comfortable sneakers.
You know who you should have called?
Ooh, Sock of Wonder?
The lawyer truck.
Oh, yeah, remind me.
I'll pull it for you.
Yeah. But I wanted to check on the condition, the size of my bunions, ladies and gentlemen, as I do for you guys every week. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my right foot. Oh, no, oh, I knocked that over. I knocked into the, look at that. Let me put it against my blue shirt. There is my right foot bunion looking quite beautiful. Actually, I can magnify it for you. Just realized that. Here, take a look. This is the size of my bunion, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put it right there. Whoa! Beautiful, huh? But it was not painful. I had a bit of rubbing on the bottom of my foot that I thought that was getting kind of annoying. But the bunion itself, and on top of the bunion, I have to say, despite my fears, smiley face for my right foot bunion. How is my left foot bunion? Let's take a look. But first, let's check the bunions of the axolotl. Nope, no bunions at all. Hasn't grown any bunions on any of his feet, as we can see. Well, there's a little bit of foot fungus, but we'll take care of that. And now let me get my other sock up. Here we are. Oh man! Behold, it barely. When I hold it like this, it barely looks like I have a bunion at all. This is my smaller one. Though it was the one that was giving me trouble a couple, when I first started teaching that first week. But there it is. Like, if the other one is Kilimanjaro, this is barely even Fuji. This is like, not too much. And also, no pain, no problems. Happy bunion watch on Dave's Gone By for this Saturday, January 27th, 2024. Let me raise this up again. How are your bunions, dear? Good. You ever have any trouble with your bunions?
No, I have. I scraped the inside of my toe. I had raw something,
Ooh, what? Raw sushi? Or what did you scrape the inside?
I'm looking for the mobile law truck.
Oh, yeah. So before we get to our friends of the Daverhood and our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
Spectre mobile law ban.
So Joyce and I go for...
I hate my phone. I don't hate it.
So Joyce and I go for coffee once or twice a week at this this area, not too far from the house, like 2 or 3 miles away. And this is the amazing vortex. You know how 8th and 8th is the vortex of Greeley, Colorado? We found the vortex of weird stores, like candles made out of milk, tube bending. You've seen the pictures of me with the tube bending store. And what else is there? There's a Greek olive oil place.
Oh, it's Spectrum.
And Jeppy Nuts, which makes nuts and chocolate, and the nuts and peanuts are very good. So, but all along, one after the other, these stores that have no business being next to each other are next, and a manufacturing place and all that. So as we're going, where was I going with this? Oh. When we park at this big lot that's over by the rail tracks, the train tracks. And every time we park there for weeks and weeks and weeks, we look to the left, and there's this abandoned taco truck that's all the way down by it's not over the tracks, but it is right near it, tucked away. Nobody goes, it's never been moved, seemingly, never been touched. It's just parked there. This old, seemingly old, desiccated taco truck. And I'm always like, what is that? Why is that there? Why is this sacred pilgrimage thing? And I never had the guts or the time.
Find it now.
Really? Oh my God. Yeah. So yesterday, since this is still my birthday week, I tell Joyce, we're going to investigate this now.
Spectre Mobile Law Van, Maryland. It's doing this.
You didn't find it? So I'm like, you know what? We got our coffees. Let's put them down. I'm going to drive near it. I'm afraid to walk too close to it because it may be vibrating or there may be radioactive waves coming from it. But I need to see what's in this taco truck.
Okay.
So we drive. Yeah.
Mobile Law Van in Maryland. It keeps giving me mobile login.
Oh, so just type it in.
It won't find it.
Weird. Well, maybe we dreamed it.
I think we did.
Maybe this was just a dream. So I drive close-ish to it, and we notice Like, it is not a taco van. It looks exactly like a sandwich truck, like a taco truck.
Spectre Law Firm, Mobile Legal Van Services, Maryland.
And we look at it, and it's not a food truck at all.
I can't find it.
I don't know why it doesn't want to find it. So there is a law firm. It's like an personal injury, ambulance chasing law firm from Baltimore City.
Law firms in Baltimore with mobile vans.
And they go in this van for people, into neighborhoods, for people who aren't going to go visit their law firm. And they're like, you can just go up to a van. Instead of ordering like a burrito, you say, help, I was injured at work. I need an attorney. And it's this mobile van. And Joyce was like, well, wait, where do they keep all their paperwork?
Mobile law vans in Maryland.
And I was like, well, you know what? These days, the paperwork is their laptop computer. What do they need? 1 or 2 papers to carry with them in files. And everything else really is portable. So it's a brilliant idea. You can take it all over Maryland and just kind of say, hey, we're parked outside a library. Do you need a personal injury lawyer? Are you suing somebody for something that fell on you at work? Or did you slip on the ice in front of something? Do you want to sue somebody for $83 million because they kind of touched your ass 20 years ago? Give us a call. Right? But it was such a delight and such an unexpected thing to find a mobile van that we thought was just this abandoned, sad thing that had sold sandwiches, had sold Cuban hoagies and things. No, they're selling lawyers. They're going around the neighborhoods going, I wonder if they have a bell or a musical tune.
I see the whole thing, but I don't see the...
It should play Warren Zevon's Lawyers, Guns, and Money. It's like, ding, 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 over and over again. It rolls through the neighborhood. It's a brilliant idea. You found it?
Hold on.
This is real. This is the actual thing they do. And they have a video of the guy talking about it.
It's their law truck.
This is their...
Don't lose it because I can't find that again, David. It's
called Spectre Law Group. It's real. And there's, I think it's a cartoon image of their van. It's actually a cartoon image of their van. Yes. And they go in the van from place to place. They are the Spectre LAW truck. I guess they've acronymed it for whatever. I know, but they put period A, legal advice something.
Wagon.
Legal advice wagon.
I don't know what that is.
It's a mobile office started with knowledgeable, experienced attorneys and paralegals and legal secretaries. Imagine you have a secretarial job. Where are we going today?
Today your job as a temp is to drive the van.
But today your job, you have to change the oil.
You have to empty the bathroom of the van.
Most secretaries have to change the coffee pot.
No, David, you have to let out the doo-doo pee-pee from the toilet.
Yeah, you have to do the canister thing.
You have to go buy an air freshener.
Clean the windshield. Yeah. The truck is equipped with the latest technology, including laptop printers. We take care of paperwork, thus avoiding expensive court visits. Wow.
Oh, so you don't have to go to...
You can file papers and stuff. Wow.
Wow.
A full range of services from advice and representation to trial advocacy and more.
Wow.
On-site consultation with attorneys. It's actually brilliant. It's actually but I want to see more of this now.
Well, they said the man who did it, he came up to the idea because his wife, when they were talking about food trucks, and I guess they had the idea if you can do it for a food truck, why can't you do it for a
right?
Like a legal truck?
Because growing up, all you had ice cream trucks. Yeah. Back in the day, you had a guy bringing ice or milk.
Yeah.
A milk truck van.
Laundry van.
Yes.
They did laundry and delivered laundry in a van.
Right. And there was also back when I many years I was growing up, there was the scissor guy.
Oh yeah, they used to come like the step tool baby.
The knife sharpening van. Why somebody with knife sharpen? Do you need your knife?
Bring me your knives.
But if they can do this, and now of course they have food trucks of all kinds of foods, which is great.
True, actually, yeah.
But what else?
I don't know how they make pizza in a food truck because doesn't the oven have to get like 400 degrees?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
how do they make any food in an oven, hot food?
Yeah, I don't know.
And ice cream trucks, how do they have the refrigerator freezing and coolant that they do?
That's true.
But what else? I mean, if you think about it, can there be other services now? They can just go from place to place.
Groomer, they have mobile
Right.
clinics, like in rural areas, they have mobile clinics. They have a lot of things, I guess, if you can put it on a truck.
Right? What other things do people use? I mean, tax people, they should do it.
Yeah. Who do you want coming to, like, they do x-rays on trucks and stuff too.
Wow.
Who do you want to come to your house and do stuff?
It'd be cool if, like,
Beauticians, yeah, like that.
Euthanasia bans.
Oh,
Someone's
wow.
really old and dying. It's like,
I don't know.
But it's everything comes to you, which is kind of neat. You know what? They should fucking have doctors.
They do.
So they do, but instead of everybody now having to show up 10 people in an hour.
You'd have to spend so much money to have them come to your house. That would be like rich people, concierge care.
Well, yeah, but the lawyers do it.
Well, I don't think the lawyers go to people's house. I think the lawyers say, like, we're going to be on the corner of 8th and 8th and come meet us.
Fine. So
I don't think they're going to people's houses. I think they're going to say, like, we're going to be in this vicinity.
Right. But you should have a thing where the doctor come and everybody who's sick or needs an x-ray or needs to come visit us outside the Walmart. And you won't have to go to the thing. You won't have to wait in the waiting room. You can wait outside in nice weather. Take it back to what it was, where doctors used to make actual house calls.
I told you, I had a house call, and we had the German Shepherd, and the doctor's like, you have to put then they're like, the dog isn't violent. They're like, yeah, but the dog might not know what I'm doing. So,
No.
yeah.
No, gotta get him in another room, close the door.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
We just found out my childhood doctor, he was lovely, he died. He was in his 80s. His wife was his secretary. His son or daughter was a nurse, a psychologist. They were really great. And he did house calls, and I think in the 90s, like he still did them, man.
Well, we were very excited and happy. You're a gerontologist, and one of the people you interviewed, it's like this guy all the girls like. But
in Colorado, he used to do home care,
And he would. It was a cool thing. It's like, someone's old. We don't have to schlep them to a fucking middle of a doctor's office in a building a mile and a half away.
Not only that, it's like you could see how people live. So you say, I'm eating well, and you look and you see the food, you see the environment, you see. If they can get out of the building. I mean, it was interesting.
My mom's doctor makes house calls. May not be the greatest doctor in the world, but
no, it's not a doctor.
She comes to the house.
It's not a doctor that comes.
There's
the
practitioner.
person comes is
Oh, all right. No, but the other one who was looking after my dad.
Occasionally,
it's when you're a certain age, it's nice.
When you're sick, like, honestly, when you're sick, I don't know about people, but when you're sick, you don't want to go like getting up and out and
You call the doctor, I have 103 temperature. Okay, come on over to our waiting room.
Oh, I delivered my package.
Oh, so go. Which one? Well, not the one you just got.
No, the other one, I can't look and see.
Well, this will be a good time for me to talk about the friends.
I'll try them on real quick.
The friends of the Daverhood. These are people who have been on Dave's Gone By in the months and years leading up to this very moment. 12:24 p.m. Eastern Time in the Daverhood, January 27th, 2024. There were folks who were on this program the very first night we were on in October of 2022. 2002. Rabbi Saul Solomon, who interviewed Evelyn McDonnell earlier on the program. He was on our first episode. And then tons and tons of somewhat well-known, sometimes very well-known people joining us in the Daverhood. We call them friends of the Daverhood and like to know what they've been up to. Very nice. Brahms is nice. Anyway, let's tell you who's doing what. For example, gotta give congratulations to a classmate of mine at New York University, Ben Modell, who was on the show a couple of years ago. Ben Modell has made an extraordinary career for himself in something that there's no career in. He is a silent film archivist, enthusiast, and accompanist. He plays the piano for he plays the piano for silent films all over the country. When they have things at museums, at special art houses, he lectures about silent film. Well, he's won a special award from the Online Film Critics Society, quote, for restoring and releasing silent film classics. So if you go on YouTube, you can find a lot of the things that Ben Medell has had a hand in rescuing, saving. These aren't necessarily like he's going up to an attic in Switzerland and finding a print of a film that we thought was lost. Not quite, but if that lost print has just been sitting in a museum somewhere and nobody's seeing it, and it needs more work and to show it, he's been very much involved with that and bringing it onto the web and bringing it online.
So Greg was bringing around the packages, which was great.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you got a card, it was open. I just fixed it. Bonnie never sealed it, but the check's still in there.
Oh, well.
Yeah, this is how honest it is.
Oh, I didn't realize I got something. Oh, thank you. This is from my Aunt Bonnie. Yay, thank you very, very much. I didn't thank her because I never got it. Oh, well, now I got it. Oh, that's so nice. Anyway. So, congratulations to Ben Modell. And want to let you know that Jackie Martling, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, who was, of course, a part of the Howard Stern whack pack for a bunch of years, he hosts he will be tonight, hosting a screening of the documentary about him that just got completed. It's called Joke Man, and they're doing it at Stony Brook Village Center. Also, he is doing his own podcast, and you can watch that. It's called Stand Up Memories, and you can see them on YouTube. Look for Jackie the Joke Man Martling there. Playing now through tomorrow, you can see a production of Crime and Punishment, of course, based on the Dostoevsky book, with Ellen Mandel doing the sound design. It's the Phoenix Ensemble at ART New York. Phoenix Ensemble, they chose that name because they literally rose from the ashes of Jean Cocteau Rep, which was off Broadway for dozens of years. What?
Pier 1.
Oh,
nice, right?
Stay off camera there. What are you doing?
Nice, right?
Yeah. Joyce is showing me the pants that just came in. Very, very
keep
nice.
Them or sell them. Send them back or keep them.
Very nice. They're dark black pants.
Okay.
I can lower the screen and you can show your bottom of your body there.
That's fine.
And then what else? Oh, playing now through Monday. Julie Halston and Anne Harada are among the rotating cast members of a piece called Fair is Foul. It's part of the Women on Fire series being done at the Royal Family Performing Arts Space over on West 46th Street in Manhattan. On January 31st, one of our best recent guests, Julian Schlossberg, he is starting up his podcast again. It's called Movie Talk, and you can catch it on Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's Julian Schlossberg, who's been a Broadway producer and radio host and interviewer and all these kind of movie producer, I think, as well. Movie Talk on various podcasting platforms.
But they're wide-legged. I think they're nice. They're just too baggy.
Are they comfortable?
Yeah, but they're too baggy, probably.
They're a bit. You probably go to the Chinese tailor and take them in.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Let's see. J.O. Sanders. He is appearing in Pearly Victorious at the Music Box Theater now through only February 4th. You just have another week to go see that. And Stuart Zagnut is in Harmony at the Ethel Barrymore Theater. I was just talking about that. He's the understudy for Chip Zion. So maybe, Chip will be out one day and let Stuart take the reins, if you will. That's at the Barrymore Theater. Jessica Molaski is in a musical called The Connector. And you can see that now through middle of February at Manhattan Class Company, off-Broadway. Austin Pendleton. We have an Austin Pendleton alert. Woohoo! Austin is directing a revival of Tennessee Williams's Night of the Iguana featuring Daphne Rubin Vega. That is off Broadway at the Signature Theater towards almost through the end of February. Lilias White is on Broadway in Hadestown. Aladdin has music by Alan Menken on Broadway. Off Broadway.
These are the same, a little schlumpy, huh? Too big.
Yeah, well, the leg has no shape on any of them.
Okay, good. So the first one, okay, the other two, no.
Little Shop of Horrors off Broadway at the West Side Theater. And then Tuesday evening, Seth Bisson-Hirsch is doing Seth's talent showcase at Don't Tell Mama over on West 46th Street. It was kind of cool. 2 weeks ago, I walked by Don't Tell Mama again and Birdland. You know, just these places I haven't seen in so long. But you can see Seth Bisson-Hirsch emceeing his talent showcase on Tuesday evenings. Vince Giordano and the Nighthawks are at Birdland on Monday nights, at 5:30 and 8:30 in the evening. And of course, Jim Caruso's cast party every Monday night at Birdland. Go to birdlandjazz.com for tickets. Evan Setplow is the founder and editor of StageBuddy.com. David Sheward writes for TheaterLife.com, CulturalDaily.com, and my beloved TotalTheater.com. He reviews shows on and off Broadway, so you definitely want to read him there. Vicky Quaddy is doing her shows, Are You Smarter Than Your 8th Grade Nun and Late Night Catechism, over in the Greenhouse Theater in Chicago, and she also travels with it all around the middle of the country. Dr. Demento still doing brand new Dr. Demento shows every week on his website only, drdemento.com. Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake co-hosting Two on the Aisle on YouTube, and as I mentioned, I am on the newest episode of that show with a panel of people talking about all the shows we're looking forward to on and off Broadway this coming spring. And who else? Who else do I have to say a shout out to? Let's see. Starting up in another week is Steve Kaplan's Comedy Intensive. Is an interactive workshop from the fellow who co-founded Manhattan Punchline many, many years ago. Go to kaplancomedy.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. How's it? Very nice. Brahms is nice. Anyway, we've done so much of the show. My God, we're stretching to 3.5 hours now, and we're not quite 100% finished. We're 97% finished. You will wish we were 100% finished with the show, but we do have one more element to bring in. We're not going to do Dave's Big Dictionary. We're going to table that one, okay? But we are going to do our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Because I know you wait for this. I know this is the rotten, disgusting, feces-dipped cherry on the cake that is Dave's Gone By. And this week we're going to go to Tall Timber, Colorado. Now, Joyce and I lived in Colorado for a bunch of years. I got it into my head to write a poem about as many places in Colorado as I possibly could. And I've got almost 300 of them now. They're getting harder and harder to write. I found a new one, Tall Timber. Gonna let you know a bit about it and do our horrible poem, our Limerick of the Damned.
You're the poetry man. A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain,
Colorado, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, the Rocky Mountains. So let's talk about Tall Timber, Colorado. Here are my notes on this. There's not that much about it. It's a small, unincorporated community in Boulder County. It's about half a square mile with 500 people living in it. It's got good schools. Guess the median home value in Tall Timber, Colorado.
Near Boulder, probably $1 million.
$750,000 is the median.
Boulder.
Yeah,
Boulder's beautiful.
Yeah.
Boulder's
and it's beautiful, and it's got stuff to do. It's got everything.
Well,
So.
it's also like building restricted, so they protect land. You can only build certain places.
Now in Colorado, there is or was something called the Tall Timber Resort, but that was in Durango, in southern Colorado. It currently has nothing to do. With
confusing.
And it's also gone. It's no longer a resort. Now they do zip lining there. But nothing to do with actual Tall Timber, this little community in Boulder County. And now I I've got a poem about it. I mean, I've used the F word already, so it's not a big deal that I'm going to use it in this poem, but get the kids out of the room. It's a Colorado limerick of the damned. Ready? A nursing home nurse in tall timber, whose body was nimble and limber, would fuck older men again and again, and do things they couldn't remember. If you want to complain, and why wouldn't you, send your mail to davesgoneby@aol.com. davesgoneby@aol.com. I try and read as much as I get, and also if you post on Facebook or message me on Facebook, I do, if I can give a thumbs up or say hi if I have the time. I try to read everything. As I said, I appreciate the hundreds of people who sent me birthday messages.
Even now, like on your phone, I
yeah,
can check.
people are still loading in. Oh, it's your birthday. Sorry, I missed it.
Stuff. Eva sent you belated, a lot of belated. Yeah, you got a lot.
So that's really, really nice. So yeah, I do read everything. I don't necessarily have the time to respond to it. But if you want to write me a letter, davesgoneby@aol.com is the place to do it. To follow the show, remember we've got our Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2. We have our Instagram page, david.lefkowitz. And to read my writing, because I talked before how I was at Playbill for all those years and wrote hundreds of theater news stories and articles and interviewed a lot of famous theater people. Want to read some of them? Actually, a lot of the Playbill stuff is just on Playbill. But a lot of my other writing is at davelefkowitz.org. davelefkowitz.org. My song lyrics, my one-act plays, my full-length plays. Some of the, I talked about Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Sal Solomon that I co-wrote with him.
There?
It's on there. Is the video? It links to the video. The website doesn't have the capability unless I upgrade for video. Yeah.
As long as you can locate it, that's what you want.
It's weird. They allow JPEG. They allow photos, but not audio and video. Then you have to go up to another level.
Yeah, you'll figure it out, Whoopi.
But the site has tons of my writing. My song lyrics. It's got my interviews with people, stories I've written for Long Island women over the past bunch of years. Songs I was writing, articles I was writing for Long Island Pulse magazine while that was going for a decade or so. Well, nice. Long Island Pulse, no, they went out of business.
No, but I mean the findings.
Yeah, all my cover stories are there.
Thank you.
So
Where's
check
the
them.
one you won for sure? You won awards. Remember those awards
Those were for
those.
Long Island Woman.
I packed those. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
And those are up there too. Those are on there.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's definitely a cool website to check out. When you're not checking out davesgoneby.com, which is how to find out about the show, our archives, etc., as well as this Facebook page. But again, it's all different ways to keep in touch with me, keep in touch with this program. So, speaking of this program, we're going to table this one.
I'll tell you how long it's on. Did you get rid of your Facebook? Because I had your Facebook tracker.
I think it's still on there. I think we just tried to mute it with its notifications. But we should be here next Saturday morning from 9 until noonish or thereabouts.
Oh, wait.
With me, with Joyce, with Rabbi Sal, talking to a special guest, comedian, I guess, and
3
actress.
hours.
Yeah.
3 hours, 37 minutes, 55. 3 hours, I'll tell you. 3 hours. 3 hours and 38 minutes.
We'll hit 3:40. No question.
Oh, of course, yeah.
This was, as she said, a long one. So next Saturday we'll be doing the 929th episode.
That's a palindrome.
Yeah.
929.
Actually, what would be really cool is if it was 919, it'd be upside down. It would look like 616, which would be neat, wouldn't it? Or something like that. Well, A18 you could flip it and go back and forth. A18, that was a special one. But we'll be feeling very special because Nina Conti will be in the Daverhood next Saturday. She is a very, very interesting and funny comedian. She works with masks in a strange way. Sometimes she also works with a monkey, not a monkey puppet.
Like a toy.
And she's also the daughter an actor that I idolized early when I thought I wanted to be an actor. She's the daughter of Tom Conti,
Wow.
whom you might remember from the Norman Conquests that we watched on TV. So she's had this long and very fun career doing comedy and acting as well. Lots of stuff to ask Nina Conti when she talks to Rabbi Sal Solomon in the Daverhood next week, because she's going to be off Broadway with her show for a couple of weeks. So that's why we're bringing her in to the Daverhood. Well, hun, is there anything that we kind of missed or didn't get to?
I think you covered everything, all your birthday items. I mean, everything.
Yeah. That, talking about yesterday, strolling around.
You'll use the art museum photos and you'll show people when you're because they look
that was cool. Let's save something for next week. I'm out of gas. I'm just like, I'm toast.
Well, now
I'm done.
you're at 939-5253-54-55-56-57-58-59. 340
and gone by. One more time, thank you, by the way, again, to Rabbi Sal Solomon. Thank you so much to Evelyn McDonnell. Get her book, The World According to Joan Didion, from HarperCollins Press. And thank you to my wonderful wife, Joyce. Yay! We'll see you next week. And thanks again for the birthday wishes.